Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
And welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmy Wissman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us here. Yeah. Stretch run of coming around the back of the track here.
Rounding third base. How dirty.
That's it for Crime and Sports. And speaking of that, we are going to round third base today with a guy who rounded third base many times in many different ways. And that'll make a lot of sense later and be kind of a gross joke. So we'll get into that very quickly, though. Before we do that, just want to tell you, I don't know, thanks for whatever you're doing for us. We appreciate it. Hey, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now if you want to get tickets to the virtual live show, October the 27th. It's available for a week after that, too. Virtual live show. You go, what the hell is that? It's just like a live show, except you can watch it from your living room, and we will be in our studio set up like a live show with the screen with all the pictures, and we'll be laughing at all that stuff. And then it's a story of small town murder. It's a Halloween story. So much fun. Come hang out with us. Do that. Shutupandgivememurder.com is where you get that, and always anything Crime and Sports or small town murder related. That's where you get it there. Patreon.com/Crime and Sports is where you get the bonus stuff. And we've said last week, if you didn't listen last week, go back and listen to the end. We will be ending Crime and Sports tour at the end of this year, the main show here. But we are going to keep the Patreon of what we do there, 2 shows a month and the shorter shows and all that. We've run out of long stories, so we are going to, we will be out of long stories by that point. So we're going to do just the
good
short
stories. I think that's what it is.
There's some good ones, but they're also not 2.5 hours of a lot, maybe one crazy event or something like that. So worth Patreon. And for Patreon, patreon.com/Crime and Sports is where you get all the bonus stuff, small town murder episodes and Crime and Sports episodes. Anybody $5 a month or above, you get access to all of that, actually. Crime and Sports, small town murder. There's 150 episodes in the back catalog. We got it all, baby. And this week we are back with, oh my goodness, it's wonderful. Crime and Sports, we're doing personal ads again. Old ads of lonely people looking in the newspapers in the 80s and 90s for love, and they are hilarious. They're so funny. And then for small town murder, we're going to talk about another back by popular demand subject here: small town festivals. They're always crazy. We'll talk about testicle festivals and you name it, weird county fairs, and I don't know, infant chucking contests, I'm sure, is in there somewhere. We'll talk all about it. Who knows? That's patreon.com/Crime and Sports is where you get all of that. And of course, you will always get a shout out at the end of the show, where Jimmy will try desperately to get your name correct. And he's getting good at names, I will say that. He'll get them pretty decent a lot of the times, unless it's Italian or Eastern European. Then you're in trouble.
I got news for you this week. Shitloads of them.
Oh, my goodness. Here it comes. Thank you very much, my Italian brethren, for torturing Jimmy. It's funny as hell when he looks at a name and goes, oh, that's a lot of vowels. I don't know what to do with that.
De Leonardis.
Oh, yeah.
That's the last name.
That's not bad.
Gaetano. I only know that name because of you.
That was my great-grandfather's name. It was almost my name.
Without that reference, I'd be like,
what the hell is that?
Gaetano?
Gaetano? What the hell does that mean? Gaetino. Gaetino. Either way, that said, let's get it on here. We have a crazy-ass episode. We're going old-timey today, baby.
Hell yeah.
I love it. And, we figure last couple of weeks, we had Alden Smith, we had Allen Iverson, we had modern-day athletes, and, Iverson, kind of 90s, 2000s guy. I mean, he's still on those Car Shield commercials. Can't get rid of him.
Late 30s, early 40s. You remember all this.
And then Alden Smith just happened now. So, I mean, you could be 15 and remember that. So that's fine. But we love the old-timey episodes. They're so much fun, and they're fun for us because the listeners don't like them. Well, they do. The listeners like them when they listen to them, but what happens is they don't listen to them because they look at it and go, I've never heard of that guy, and then they skip it.
Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, I'll listen to the one I've heard of again. So these are the best episodes, though, so those people are missing out. So all of us will sit around and in a huddle here and enjoy this. Here we go. We'll talk about Manuel Joseph Rivera, better known as Jim Rivera. Later on, he'll go by James Rivera, then also Manuel James Rivera. The Joseph gets dropped right out of there at some point, and it's gone.
Turns it right into James.
Turns it right into James. He goes by Jim. That's his main name. And his nickname, he is Jungle Jim Rivera. That's it.
Well, I don't like this at all.
Jungle
already.
Jim. Yeah, Jungle Jim. Well, it's not anything derogatory. No,
good.
He loves it. He fucking loves it. He's got neon signs.
He created it, for Christ's sake.
Well, he didn't
Jungle
create
Joe
it.
doesn't sound near as
No.
good.
Well, he didn't nickname himself. That was a reporter.
Okay.
We'll get into all that, though. He is born July 22nd, 1921. So
My God.
a little bit old, this guy
The
here.
man's 100 years old.
He would be 101 at this moment in time here. We'll talk. Maybe he's still alive. You don't know. We'll talk about it. That's the mystery and the suspense of a crime and sports episode.
Shit, yeah.
Is he alive? At 94, did he flip in a median while on a meth jag and get crushed by his own truck like Steve Howe? Maybe. We don't know.
We'll get there.
It's possible. So he's born there. He's born in New York City. Both his parents are from Puerto Rico.
Oh.
And they went to New York, and he's born there. He's got a huge family too. He's got 10 brothers and sisters.
Jesus.
So there's 11 total. Obviously, 6 brothers, 5 sisters altogether in the family. He's got 5 brothers, 5 sisters. So yeah, it's a crowded house. Let's just say.
Sure.
He's raised at 112th Street in Madison, which is in. At the time, Spanish Harlem. At the time, though, that was still Italian Harlem. At the time, that wasn't even.
Really?
This is the beginning of.
Yeah, this is the 20s, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, these are we were still down in Little Italy. This is still Godfather 2 days. You know what I mean? With Robert De Niro walking around with the. This is. I mean, most of my family wasn't even fucking here yet. I can't think of anybody that was here yet, honestly. So I don't think my one great grandfather came till. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Either way, that's where they grew up. His dad is a merchant marine. So he's gone like 8 months out of the year. Okay. Gone. So it's his mother is at home in an apartment, in a tiny apartment in a shitty area with 11 kids in the house. So
and he keeps popping in and giving her one more every fucking year.
And then he gives her the old salute and he heads back out. I assume.
Load the ship.
Is that I was going to say merchant marines? That's a boat thing? We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
It's you always hear about guys back in the day being in the merchant marines, and I haven't heard of anybody being in the merchant marines since maybe the 40s, probably. I don't know. Right?
Maybe. Has it dissolved? I don't know.
I don't know. It's probably going strong. We just don't know about it. Maybe people are keeping it under their hats. I'm not sure.
I feel like these are ships that were helping and escorting.
I was going to say, were they
ships?
escorting commerce? That's what it seems like. That's what it sounds like. Well, you know what? Everybody, the Merchant Marines are an organization of people who militarily escort boats of commerce across seas.
I know that to be true because I created it.
We know that because we just made it up. And in today's world, if you say that and then someone says it's not true, you can yell at them because
and tell
you
them,
said it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because you said it, so that means it's true. Well, actually, no. I said it, so I don't know, but you now heard it. So now that you out there listening heard it, you could argue it with someone else because you go, no, I heard this. So that means it's the
Two
word.
guys told me. Two guys.
That's the law now in the world, is if you heard it, then it's true.
What, from one person? No, two.
No, two.
Oh, all right. Well,
no, 2 idiots, not one. 2 idiots that just happen to have microphones and talk about criminal athletes. So, problem is, Jim's mom dies when he's 3.
Oh, my God. Oh, no.
1924, his mom dies.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's 3 years old, and dad's a merchant marine, so they're,
they just take care of each other?
Well, no. No, that's the thing. Some of the kids are older, they kind of band together and get jobs and hop the rails. This is during the 20s, so there's jobs now, but later on, as we'll talk about, it gets rough after the Depression and all that. Whereas him and some of his brothers and sisters, I know his sister Mary went with him to the same one. They were all sent to orphanages.
Oh, shit.
1920s orphanages, guys.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
We're talking, this is Annie, this is some Annie shit.
Oliver, yeah.
Yeah, this is like, and that was like a fucking cleaned up version of what this was like. This is bad times, man. This is not good. Without the magic.
Without anything good.
There is nothing magical here whatsoever.
No talent.
Yeah. There's not magic, there's ghosts. That's the difference. It's just goblins, not magic.
Yeah.
So,
it's all the opposite.
Yeah, it's one of these like Catholic, orphanages and with nuns and all that kind of shit here. Now, there's differing stories where I know I think originally the first orphanage they went to was in Puerto Rico. They were in Puerto Rico for a while, but then when he's a little bit older, they end up in New York, and that's where he's raised, in the orphanage in New York here. It's, Blauvelt, New York. It's about 15 miles north of the city. And, it was run by a congregation of Dominican nuns. So, yeah, and he lived there for, till he's 16 years old.
Oh, a long time.
Yeah, from the time he's, 3 to 16.
Yeah.
He's raised in the orphanage.
13 damn years.
Gets an education in there, and, learns how to picks up some sports. He likes boxing. He likes baseball. He's very athletic. He turns out to be about 6 foot 195 later on when he's full grown. Where 6 foot back then was a big guy. That was that was considered, oh boy, 6 foot was like the mark of like, damn, you're a big guy. Holy shit. Yeah. A lot of people were a lot shorter. So anyway, I did a little research on these orphanages back then just to see what they're like, and holy shit, are they this was like a huge deal in the 20s, like after World War I. And after the flu pandemic there, a lot of people died in both of those. Yep. So there was a fuckload of orphans. Like, I mean, there was so many. Oh, my God. We had an orphan epidemic. I mean, it was crazy. Between the war and the flu, I mean, it was like a 1-2 punch of like killing all these people and leaving a lot of kids with nobody there.
You imagine surviving one and being taken by the other? That's fucked.
That happened to a ton of people. Yeah, happened a lot. And especially to the people who would come back from the war with like damage to their lungs from mustard gas and shit like that back then. And they would come back and then
to the disease.
Oh, God, they're susceptible to everything. They get sick, they drop right dead. So that was a problem back then, too. And also, I mean, everything was filthy back then. It was the sewage wasn't good. I mean, it was very easy to get sick back then.
There were no Lysol wipes.
No Lysol wipes. No, refrigeration was sketchy. Think about this for like meats
Purell
and shit.
My ass.
Things you're eating. There's a lot of disease out there.
They didn't even know not to touch the chicken to the beef.
Oh, no, they'd slap them together, make them dance, make them slow dance. They'd fuck the chicken and then cook it, and it was fine.
Stick a New York strip right up a chicken's ass.
There's that, and then there's the extreme of my mother, who puts on, this is how my mother makes chicken. I shit you not, it's the funniest thing. I remember watching this as a kid going, whoa, what did this chicken eat? Like, I don't know if it was nuclear waste in there or what was happening, but she puts on the big, giant, like yellow, thick dishwashing gloves that go up to your elbows.
To the middle of your cat.
She puts your forearms there. She puts those on and then gets the chicken in the sink, right? And it's on. It's like a 15-minute process of methodically washing that. She bleaches chicken, Jimmy. She puts bleach on it and then washes it off to kill salmonella. She's nuts. Yeah.
She's bleaching her chicken?
She would bleach the chicken and then wash the chicken with soap after that. And then wash it, rinse it thoroughly. And
that's the whitest meat you've ever had.
It was she's so paranoid about that shit. Yeah, it was scrubbed.
You don't have to bleach all the whites, Angela.
She is bleaching away, man. It was
bleaching chicken
to kill Because bleach kills things.
Yeah, but also me.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making. That's my whole
Angela,
point. Is I'm like, Ma, what are you?
Your family.
What are you doing with the bleach? You got to do this. I'm like, no,
Don't
you
worry,
know.
I'll get it off with Dawn.
But she'd had it was like some weird shit. Like I could picture my grandmother going, "My bleach kills anything. It's okay. I put bleach on it. It'll kill." Like it's some old world thing.
on your lunch.
Yeah, it's so fucked up. But yeah, anyway,
Jesus.
That's how things were. So they had, I guess, because of all of these, like basically homeless, orphaned children, and cheap housing was becoming harder. They weren't building any new houses, and it was still, we were in a really weird time. And at this time, too, this is no social safety net. This is pre-welfare, pre-food stamps, you name it.
Just do it on your own.
This is just live in the street with your kids and, fucking go to soup kitchens maybe if the church has one.
Figure it out, son.
Yeah, not good times, basically.
No.
A lot of people riding the rails and shit covered in soot. This is
stealing apples and day-old bread.
Yeah. I'm picturing what movie you saw that in.
I don't. Every movie
like
that
a cart pulling away and somebody grabbing a couple apples off the back and like with soot on his face running over to his friend.
Basically just Aladdin.
Yeah, kind of Aladdin, yeah. This is basically Aladdin is what's going on here. Minus magic carpets. That would have helped a lot.
I just see somebody like with nothing eating an apple.
Yeah. Just with a little newsboy hat on though.
Yeah. And I stole it.
So they characterized these people, these children, as belonging to the, quote, dangerous classes, which means they were very poor.
It's called hungry, you guys.
That's the thing. So there would be groups of kids. This is where Newsies came from. Most of them were homeless kids. You know what I mean? Right. That's who they were. So they would do that to try to make money and whatever. They would you'd have shoe shine stands with a bunch of kids shining shoes and shit like that. It was not too great here. But there's a guy here who created the Children's Aid Society in 1853, devoted. The Children's Aid Society, not AIDS Society. Not the society to give children AIDS, but society to give children aid.
That's
just
a
one.
Very dastard society.
Singular aid is fine. Multiple aids. Now we're going into that can't be legal territory, right? You can't do
Don't
that.
Don't pluralize it, otherwise it's murder.
You can't have a whole society dedicated to it. Picture at the fundraiser. It is our goal to someday make every child in this country just teeming with AIDS. That's what we're looking for, ladies and gentlemen. Teeming. Little weak children roaming the streets. That's what we're covered in lesions.
Not a T-cell among them.
It's the only way to go forward, people. No medication. No. So yeah, this guy created trade schools and built lodging houses and all this type of shit here. So they basically said there was in the 1870s. By then, there was about 30,000 homeless children, like in the by themselves, like parentless homeless children wandering the country.
Just figuring it out by themselves?
They band together and little groups. They form gangs. They're
30,000
homeless children. This one guy, this is Brace. This is the guy who started all this. He said, the best of all asylums for the outcast child is the farmer's home.
Okay.
His theory was...
His idea is child slavery?
Well, his theory is these kids have nowhere to live, and, they have able bodies and nowhere to live. Right. These people have all the land and all the room in the world for them and all the need for their work. Why not put them together? You can't treat them like a worker, make them like sleep in the bunkhouse, but then you get them a room in the house, you treat them like one of the kids, and now you got extra farm help, and this kid is better off than he would have been in an orphanage. That's his theory anyway.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. He called it emigration as a cure for pauperism. So emigrate to farms is what he's talking about. Yeah, they said farmers need all the hands on deck, and food and space is plentiful in the West, so they want to take what they basically described as like New York City, Philadelphia, Boston, Baltimore, D.C. urchin children and ship them out west to farms.
That feels really gross.
That feels weird. It's like, it's so strange, too, because it's like you'd say to a kid, like, oh, no, the little dog, Spot went to a farm upstate, and, he's going to be great, and he's running the fields. That's what they're saying with these kids. Like, oh, no, little Frankie went to a farm out west. He's doing great. He's running around. He learned how to ride horses now. He's so happy. He's a cowboy.
He got a whole family. There's a lot of smiles.
Oh, my God. Yeah, he said this was better than locking them up in orphanages on the East Coast. So this guy...
So we're going to export them.
We're going to export them out there, just ship them out. So this guy got like kind of the Astor 400, like the wealthiest of the city's elite people, and basically guilted them into saying, "Hey, you rich fucks, you should do this wonderful charity thing. It'll look really good for you if there's pictures in the paper of you, helping little pauper children." And they were like, "Cool." So they did it. It was known as placing out. That's what they called it. We placed him out. That means poof, he's gone now. He's in Utah on a dude ranch. It's totally fine.
It's a nice way to say evicted and made into child labor.
Yeah, that's all it was. They did say, though, usually there was groups of children and there would be like a couple adult chaperones who would take the train out to rural destinations with them and then drop them off and bye.
Unvetted, I'm sure.
When they, I don't know what kind of background checks they were doing back then. When they would get to where they're going, the chaperones would take them to large public gatherings. Sometimes they didn't even have a place to go. They just take a group of children, go on a train, get off the train in Nebraska, say, and then they would go to like the center of town and put up posters and shit saying there's kids to adopt here, and they just kind of stand around with a group of kids, and then farmers would come up and go, "I'll take a couple of them kids. Give me a boy and one of them girls there. Yeah, I guess. The blonde one. Yeah, one of them."
Wow.
That's what they did. You just go, just hawk your kids. Just bring them out there.
Incredible.
Come on, kids. Fingers crossed, kids. This is the town. I have a feeling. Holy shit. It's fucking insane. So,
and the vetting, I'm sure, was, do you want him? Sure do. He's yours.
That's what it is. They'd show up. Yeah. Do you have a land? And they'd be like, I got a farm over here and I got a family. And they'd go, well, here you go. There you go, Johnny. It's better than, being a hobo, I suppose. And then they just send them there. That's disturbing, isn't it? So sometimes they were prearranged things where they go to a prearranged home, but it was more often than not. They just go to a town and just post up with a bunch of kids and have them all adopt.
Stunning.
Like a box of puppies just standing there with them.
Yeah, in front of PetSmart?
Yeah, just standing out in front of PetSmart with a box of puppies.
My lab accidentally fucked my poodle.
That's what it is. Here, they're cute, right? I don't know what they're going to look like later, but they're cute now, so take them.
Good news. Hypoallergenic. Take one.
Well, sometimes they would take these kids away and adopt them out even when their parents were still alive. Like the parents wouldn't be able to take care of the kids. They'd put them up for adoption. And back then, not adoption, they put them in an orphanage. And back then, an orphanage was like a pawn shop kind of for these parents, the alive ones. They'd put the kid in there and they'd be like, we'll be back for him. And then they'd save up and they'd come back and get the kid later on. It was just a place to like hold a kid for a while. And then
you got your ticket.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I guess the date would pass by on the ticket and they would adopt the kids out anyway, even though the parents are still alive and want them back. So
my God.
They'd be on a farm. There's a woman here named Hazel Latimer, and she was sent away even though her family was still alive. She said, quote, I just finished eating and this matron came by and tapped us along the head. You're going to Texas. You're going to Texas. Like tapping them like, you're going to Texas. You're going to Texas. Yeah. When she came to me, I looked up and said, I can't go. I'm not an orphan. My mother's still living. She's in the hospital right here in New York. So her mother's just sick and couldn't take care of her at the time. Yeah. And the woman said,
love it, kiddo.
The woman said, you're going to Texas. No use arguing. That's what she said. No use, and they just shipped her off to Texas, even though her mom was still alive, and they didn't even tell her mom. She didn't get to see her mom. Shit. They just shipped her off. So that's the system he grew up in. But he didn't get shipped out west. He stayed in with these Dominican nuns at this place north of New York City. So that's where he stayed. And then finally, in 1938, his dad remarried So a single guy wasn't going to take care of these kids. That's the thing back then. Back then it was like
so many kids.
Like now, if your wife died, you'd be expected to take care of the kids. If you have kids, like you couldn't just give them away if you're their father. Right. People would expect, oh, now you're going to do that. Back then,
get on Tinder and get them a mom, boy.
Back then, single mom, single dad. It was just like, well, give them away, I guess. I mean, you can't.
Obviously,
you don't know what to do with them. And then once he remarried, then it was okay again. So. Yeah. When his dad remarried in 1938, they came and got him out of the orphanage.
And gave him back to dad.
And gave him, but yeah, his dad, he moved in with his dad.
He's now 16.
He's now 16 is the thing, though, almost 17 years old. Now, so they're poor, too. They're on, like, government work programs. His dad's doing, like, government road work and, jobs that way. So they don't have a lot of money. So he goes out, too, and him and his brothers and everything, they're all trying to hustle here and there for $1, doing any kind of day labor they can or whatever.
He's 16, he can work now.
He's a strong kid too. This guy is strong. He's a real sturdy, strong guy. So he definitely is ready to work. He's got a lot of energy. He's coming out there. Problem is too, though, at a certain point here, his dad dies not too long after that. Then his stepmother dies too.
Oh my God.
So it's a real mess. I think it really is.
I would say so.
And he said, too, we're talking late 30s, before, like, we always think of the Depression and we think, okay, the stock market crash in 29, if people know even that much, some people, but stock market crash, then you figure, okay, that lasted a few years. You almost think once Roosevelt came in 32, it like immediately took place, but that we were in such a hole. Like, even digging out year by year, by 1938, we were still fucked. I mean, it was still... World War II is the thing that got us out of the Depression. You know what I mean?
It's weird
like, economically.
War does fix economies, but it did.
Well, that one, especially when it's like all hands on deck and we had to like make physical bombs and planes and, shit that we did.
Materials for
to make
society.
Things. Yeah. So it was a totally different thing. So at that point, there was no jobs in 1938. I mean, there was fucking nothing here. And then Europe was starting to fall apart already, so that didn't help to have markets all shaky, and it was bad stuff. So he was saying there was no jobs to be had. They were all trying to scrimp to put together whatever they could, him and his friends and brothers and whoever he could get together, trying to scrimp and save. He ended up being in a little gang type of thing. And he goes, nothing crazy, but a little gang, 9-10 of us running around, bunch of poor kids looking for looking for a buck. I mean, that's all it was, trying to do something. He said he never had a home life because when he was a kid, he lived in an orphanage, and then when he came home, everybody died. So not much of a home life going on for him there. He said he got arrested for like breaking and entering a couple of times during this time period, and some petty kid things that they were doing, stealing shit and, causing ruckus. They're a little street gang, little street gang trying to make some money. So, it's so funny to picture this, like back in the day. We all picture him with the hat on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Kitchen,
it's just,
playing wiffle.
Stickball and stealing shit. Yeah. So he starts going by Jim at age 17.
Not a Jim in his name.
Not a Jim anywhere to be found, but people start calling him Jim here. He's trying to work too and do all this shit, and he said construction jobs help build up his strength in his body, so he liked doing that. And he also, at night, when he wasn't cutting up and fucking off and getting in trouble, him and some other friends in the neighborhood were learning how to box. So that was a thing that he was getting into. Boxing was huge in New York in this time period. Anytime from the 20s to like the 70s, boxing in New York was enormous. Friday night fights were the big deal. Right. It was a huge, monstrous fucking thing. I can't even explain it to you, especially with any kind of ethnic people. You know what I mean? The Italians, Puerto Ricans, Irish, anybody they were very much into. They all had their fighters that they'd root for, and it was very kind of broken down that way on ethnic lines. Yeah. So he started fighting, and he would fight amateur fights with his friends. A couple of his friends got into it. A guy named Jim Dorso was another fighter, and he was with him in the orphanage, this kid. Okay. And they started boxing around New York City. He said he would fight every Friday night. He'd box, amateur boxing. Then every Sunday, play baseball because all of these towns had their own like kind of semi-pro. They didn't really get paid, but they were just like the best guys in the town had a baseball team and they'd play the best guys in the other town. Okay. That was a big thing back then. So that was always on Sunday, these kind of rec league games. That's how the Yankees pitcher Sparky Lyle, who won a Cy Young, I think, in 76, that's how he got found, was pitching on Sundays at some middle of nowhere rec league in Pennsylvania. Wow. Yeah, he struck out like 20 guys one day and it was in the newspaper. And so some scout saw it and decided to come take a look at this kid while he was playing somebody's dairy or some shit and fucking, yeah, pretty weird shit, right?
It's like a league of their own.
Yeah, that's how people got found back then, though. Mm-hmm. That's literally how they got found because, I mean, there wasn't an internet to just look up or there wasn't like a scouting database. You heard about a kid from another guy and then you got on a train and physically fucking went there to see if he could play. That's all you could do.
That might be the only story of like a normal person with a day job getting a sports career. Because every other time it's like the Eagles allow people to try out and you get a guy that runs back 25 yards and then his career's over.
Yeah, that's it.
It's so dumb. Like, yeah, you may be decent amongst your friends, but you can't play at the highest level.
That's why they had that Pros versus Joe's show to show you how far off even a decent regular athlete is to an actual professional athlete. It's like, you got
your fat friends might outrun them.
Yeah,
but you're not going to outrun somebody that spends 6 days a week in the gym.
Yeah, your Honda Civic with your dirt bike muffler is not going to beat this Ferrari. It's just not. This Ferrari is just going to fucking smoke it because it's a Ferrari.
Embarrassing.
And it's not going to be pretty. I know you put rims on the Civic too, but it's still not going to make it any better. Nice biceps, but you're not that guy. Sorry. This doesn't even happen.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
So, yeah, he goes by Jim there. I guess a friend of his, the Jim Dorso guy he was hanging out with, his name was Jim. And so everybody started calling Rivera Jim too for some reason. I don't know why. He's Jim, so you're both Jim now. So he just said, okay, I guess I'm Jim now, and started going, how you doing? I'm Jim. And he just started calling himself Jim.
Well, listen, it's a great name.
Yeah, I guess so.
I like it.
He joins the semi-pro baseball team that represented the Valencia Bakery. So that's who he's repping.
The bakery.
He's on the bakery. He's on the bakery team, literally. That's how
Margaret,
he gets.
Swing harder. Fucking pies are shit.
Jesus Christ. This guy makes good cookies, but he can't play second for shit. I'm telling you, we're going to drop him. I swear to God, I can't take this anymore. The
His
bread's
flowers
good,
on
yeah.
the cake, impeccable.
Oh, man. Well,
Shit arm.
well, that's how you got good pitching. A little flour on the fingers. It would make that ball drop an extra 3 inches. Who knows? So he's worried. So Valencia Bakery and then fighting every Friday night. He's doing all of that. It's no school, did you notice in here? Stopped going to school.
Where's that?
He was going to school at the orphanage, but then once he came out, there's no time for school. He's got to work.
Oh, there's jobs and sports.
Yeah, you got to do shit. He's got to eat. At least he was eating at the orphanage. So he had a few professional fights that I can't find record of here because it was the 30s and they weren't real high level. But anyway, he was. I think he's a middleweight at this point, and he has a few professional fights, doing very well athletically. He's a 2-time Gold Glover as well in the state of New York.
Is that right?
Absolutely, 2 years in a row. So pretty good fighter, not too bad. But you know what's happening during all this time, 1938, 1939, 1940? What? Hitler is sweeping across Europe, and the Japanese are taking over the rest of the world. So it's not going well on that front. So World War II is cranking up, and he joins the Army Air Corps in 1942.
Okay. That's the Air Force now, right?
I believe that turned into the Air Force later, the Army Air Corps, probably. This is, if you've ever watched All in the Family, this is where Archie Bunker served as well. He always said, I was in the Air Corps. So, yeah, love that shit. So, anyway, 1942, he also is on the boxing team there in the Army. And at Camp Barkley in Texas in 1942, he becomes the Camp Light Heavyweight Boxing Champion, or the regional light heavyweight boxing champion as well. So
beating the shit out of American troops. Good for you.
Beating the shit out of his fellow soldiers. Good for you. He's also playing on the camp's baseball team as well. Okay. A lot of sports teams. They have him here after basic training. They have him teaching judo in the Army. Really? Yeah, he's teaching other people judo. They have him teaching classes on hand-to-hand combat because he knows judo somehow. Yeah. So he's a pretty badass guy if you think about it. Like he's from an orphanage, Gold Gloves boxer, knows judo enough to train other people.
Right.
Like he's a pretty tough son of a bitch. Doesn't even care what you call him. Jim, sure, sounds good.
Judo is the 40s Krav Maga, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you could say that. But I mean, hand-to-hand combat back then was actually having a plan rather than just go and put up your dukes.
Right.
So either way, he's teaching all of that. Everything's going swimmingly for him. I mean, the Army was kind of the great equalizer for everybody back then. You went in the Army and then for World War II, and you could kind of come out and everybody was kind of almost on equal footing. You could step into the world here. So everything's going well. Judo, boxing, baseball, and also the ladies.
Oh, yeah.
He likes the ladies, and unfortunately for him, he's at a dance at the Barksdale Field in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And he finds himself a young lady to dance the night away with there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's all nice and good. She's a captain's daughter, which is risky right away. Her father is stationed somewhere else, and they dance at a couple of different events at the USO. That's what the USO back then is where they would go and have parties, and girls from the town would come and dance with the guys and hang out, and that's where
Bob Hope will entertain.
That's where the entire baby boomer generation came from, was people meeting at these dances. That's literally what it was.
Yeah.
It was every story from back then is we were at the USO dance and I saw her from across the room and she was handing out punch to people and oh boy, couldn't resist her. So she is a student nurse as well. Oh. So, I mean, she's a student nurse at the USO. This is all, very 40s.
Around my anatomy.
That's what I'm talking about here. So apparently he wanted to get to know her around her anatomy here for a little while. And they were getting along real well. Now, I guess they had dated a few times going to these USO dances. And he's a crazy dancer, Jim. He loves to dance. He's the guy in the 40s and 50s who would jump up on the table and dance and go crazy and fucking spray beer all over the room and do all that shit. He was
so fun.
He's known as the class clown of the team at all times.
Cut up.
The cut up. So this isn't quite as funny. The nurses have to be in by a certain time. They had a curfew. You know what I mean? So they had to be back at the nursery. I don't know where the fuck they were, so they had to go back to the nursery, I suppose.
Wherever the fuck the nurse.
Wherever they store the nurses, wherever they stash them. And one night, it was a Saturday, they go to the USO dance, and they dance their fucking asses off. They get on a bus to go take her home. I guess they get off the bus, and she said, I don't want to go home. I want to go through this park and walk around, and, I'm having a nice night. I don't want to go back to the nursery and whatever. So he goes, all right, I'll walk around with you. What do I fucking care, right? Yeah. So they walk around a little while, and not sure exactly what occurred there. It's a little bit dicey because it's 1942. But in the end of this, the next morning, he gets arrested for rape.
Jesus.
The rape of a captain's daughter, by the way.
Not good at all.
Yeah, he's arrested by the Army, obviously. This is a court-martial situation.
Right. They'll fucking hang you for this.
This is not good. Yeah, I mean, he could get life in prison for this. This is a life in prison offense here. So, Jim says she was a captain's daughter, too, so they really threw it to me in the court-martial. So this was, he had some pull, apparently. And apparently, though, he said, I did not have sexual relations with that young lady right here in front of us that we're talking about. And so they did some kind of, good God, this must have been a really disturbing. Think about a 1942 examination to see if you're a virgin, okay?
Oh, God.
They did a medical they did a cherry check there, a little quick cherry check. And I can't imagine what a disturbing scene that was in 1942 to go through that. But apparently, when they did this, they said that she was still a virgin.
Okay.
Which, I mean, you can't say definitively from any sort of medical thing.
Well, now she's not after our examination.
Well, I mean, now
we weren't as gentle as we were hoping.
I'll tell you what, but beforehand, I'll tell you. So Jim said, at first they tried to get me for rape, but they couldn't because we proved she was still a virgin. We proved it. Made him say, like, we proved she was a witch and still a virgin. That's what that sounded like.
Also, Jim, there's ways of raping people minus that.
Well, yeah, but back then, that was, did you stick it in her or not? And she said, he stuck it in me, and he said, I didn't stick it in her. And they were like, well, let the doctor decide. That's how... Yeah.
There's a thing in here still, so no. Either that or he's got a real tiny dick.
Either one. We're not sure. But he said they couldn't because we proved she was still a virgin. Then, he said, quote, so then it was assault with intent to rape, and anybody can get you on that.
What?
Rewind that tape, sir. What the fuck are you talking about? Hold on a second. So then it was assault with intent to rape, and anybody can get you on that.
Love to know what you mean, sir.
I heard this, because this isn't just printed. I saw an interview that he did where I watched these words come from his lips. So that's how I know this is true that he said it. Otherwise, I would have been like, they must have misheard him or something. No. I watched these words come out of his lips, and my head, I was like looking down, doing shit. And when he said that, my head snapped up like, are you fucking serious? Rewind that 10 seconds. I was like, wow.
How many times have you done that, man?
He acted like every guy out there has at least 4 or 5 assault with intent to rape charges because it's so easy to put. No, it's just assault with intent to rape, and anybody can get you on that. How can they get you on that? I've never been accused of that in my entire life. Not once.
I've never assaulted anybody with any intent. I've never had the intent to rape minus even assaulting.
Yeah, you can cut the intent to rape right off of there because I'm not doing that. But the assault with intent to rape, anybody can get you on that. But then he goes on to say, quote, but she ain't got no marks on her because I never touched her. So then he said, like, whatever. So then it was attempted rape. That's how it works.
They dropped the assault now, and it's just attempt.
It's just attempted now. It's just attempted rape that's reduced the charge.
Yeah.
So he goes to a military court to have this charge. He has his trial, and he is found guilty of attempted rape.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. He is sentenced here. This is some shit here. You, sir, may fuck off. Life in prison, in a military prison.
Doesn't matter if you rape or not, you get life?
Nice try, is what he said. Yeah. Life in prison.
We're going to keep the front penalty as if you had brutally raped her anyway.
You should have seen what we would have done if you actually raped her. Oh, my God. Forget about it.
Wow.
Holy shit.
I'm kind of on the fence there. If you
about
depends on. I'd love to know the ins and outs of that. I want to know the facts because I'm kind of on board with life if you attempt to rape someone. Nobody
is. I don't think anybody wants to defend rape ever. That's never a thing where you're like, now I think that blah blah blah. But an actual. They're not even an assault. So what they're saying, I don't know what they're saying. They're saying that there was, whatever it was, nobody was physically hurt or actually raped.
Yeah.
So you can't really say a life sentence in a military prison is proportional to that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Actual rape, make the argument. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
Beat her up, tried to stick that beat. Well, let's make the argument. Yeah. Extra.
But the fear that you feel between both,
I get it.
They're pretty equivalent.
Life,
it's horrifying.
Life in a military prison for a 21-year-old.
You might be right.
Seems
that's
like
a
I said,
heavy penalty.
I'm taking a weird stance here, but let's be realistic here. That's
heavy. Yeah.
That's a bit much for that. For an attempt. If it was like a brutal, then we could tell. Like I said, but doesn't seem like there was any brutality here.
Small town murder last week. A man murdered his wife and got out.
That's what I'm saying. This horribly.
Is a bit much,
dissected her like a fucking frog, like a 7th grade science frog, and that guy got out. That's what I mean. Life in a that's just life in a military prison. Just seems like
that's heavy.
That's a lot. Yeah, that just seems like a little heavy. I mean, whatever. But then. It was reduced after that. There was an appeal, and it was reduced to 20 years.
Okay.
So first they reduced it to 20 years. So that seems
still
more like
heavier than the murder last week.
Heavier than the murder, but you can argue that attempted rape 20 years. That's proportional. Yeah, just life in the military prison was like no chance of ever getting out. It was just like we're going to hold you here for the next 70 years. Seems like a little much. Is all I meant.
Because he did some awful shit that wasn't really proportional to this punishment.
Yeah. You did some disproportional shit, so now we're doing some disproportional shit.
You went out of your way, so we are too.
That's what we're doing. So, yeah, maybe you're right. Anyway, he then gets it reduced to 9 years, and then it gets reduced to 7 years.
He's whittling it like a fucking southerner with a piece of stick, man.
Every time here. He said, quote, "I am innocent, but the court found me guilty." So.
Well, that means you're guilty.
That's, according to the military that you joined, you're guilty.
Right.
So now later on, he will be approached by a captain in the military, in the Army, who was on the board that tried him. This is 20 years later. He'll talk to a guy. And the captain apparently said that most of the board believed he was innocent, but the father of this girl apparently had a lot of pull over the proceedings, and that's why it even went on. They said they probably didn't have enough evidence to even prosecute that anything really happened, but that's why there's such a stiff sentence occurred from that board, and that's why it was reduced later on, because in the higher up appeals, that guy didn't have any more power. That captain couldn't have any influence over that. He only had an influence over the initial board, apparently. Right. So that's what he was saying here. So, that's how that goes. So during this time, now he is in a military prison while the war's going on, by the way. While the war is
the best thing that ever happened to him.
Well, he could be dead. He could have not made it through this whole thing. So instead, he's here, and that's shocking. I got to say, just the whole his life to this point has been pretty shocking. It's just been the whole thing's been we don't talk about a lot of people who grew up in an orphanage in the 20s. You know, it's not
and sidestepped a flotilla to the beaches of Normandy by attempted raping someone.
By attempting to rape an officer's daughter,
right.
It's a very odd thing. It's not as shocking, though, Jimmy, as the sales back in 1942. So many sales, but it's so much here. Let's find out. Head on down to if you happen to be in 1942, head on down to Tyndall's Jewelers and get yourself, this is fucking amazing. All of these ads have war themes to them, which is so fucking funny because that's all anybody can think about because that's all that's going on.
That's the only current event right now.
Everybody's got somebody over there, so everybody's following it. This is the ad, and it's got 2 pictures of 2 diamond rings on it, and it says, quote, wartime, peacetime, all the time. Diamonds say, I love you.
What?
Did that
work?
It gets worse somehow. Somehow, that's not even the worst part. Then it says, no bombs or tanks or planes ever built or ever to be built will stop love. I've never heard of a diamond ad that references bombs, tanks, or planes. That's such a weird...
You think he might die, and he might, but... you'll still love him.
Get him to buy you a diamond first, just in case.
Never forget his memory with diamonds.
Let's see if by the end of it they're like, and just in case, it's a good remember me by. For love goes on regardless of conditions. That's kind of what they're saying.
Sticking around, yeah.
And diamonds, the fitting symbol of our finest emotion, are everlasting, just as is love. So, as long as love remains, quote, as usual, our diamond business shall continue, quote, as usual. So we're not going to stop for the war.
We aren't closing till everybody's dead.
Till everyone's dead or no one loves anyone anymore. That's what we'll close.
Hate rules.
Till hate rules the world. For real beauty and quality, see our engagement and wedding rings by Traub. It costs no more, often less at Tyndall's, your quality jewelers. So that was a pretty gross one. And then let's say you can't get to the war. You can't make it. Let's say you're either a woman and you got to stay home or you're like a guy with like a club foot or something. Whatever it is here. You're too old, you're too lame, whatever you got going on. We have
to
for
manage
you
the baseball team.
You have to manage Dottie and Kit. We have for you here some home entertainment items for here. Zenith gives you the same reliable performance on distant shortwave or local stations day after day, year after year. And they mean radio, everybody.
Yeah.
See and hear these outstanding 1942 Zenith performers. Oh, here's the radio phonograph combination.
What?
Yeah, the Wilshire is the model of this one.
It's a radio and record player.
Oh, yeah. Automatically plays up to 12 records and receives American and foreign broadcasts. It's one of those long wave that has like all the European ones on the end of the dial. My grandfather had one of those in the basement. Yeah, it was cool as fuck looking. It had like the whole long thing that you could pick up, like you could get European stations and all that shit. Radiogram. Radio organ. What the hell is radio organ? I don't know what that is. I've never seen that word before. It couldn't come out of my mouth. And 14-inch speaker, genuine sapphire needle, 10 tubes, including rectifier. Oh, well, you need that. You got to put your tubes in your rectifier every time.
Rectify your tubes.
$209.95.
$300.
$209. So $200. But
still, $99.
That's probably $5,000 now, though. You know what I mean?
That's entertaining the whole family. Though, so
that's what it is.
This is got. Yeah.
This is all there is. This is the center of the whole family's entertainment. And then the Zenith Universal portable radio here. The portable radio guaranteed to play where other portables fail or your money back. Only Zenith has this. The built-in movable wave magnet. Oh, got to have that. I don't know. For reception in planes, trains, and ships. You can listen to this on a plane, apparently. 3-way operation from self-contained battery or 110-volt AC or DC. No power blackout. Complete with battery. $39.95.
Oh, it's got a battery in case the power goes out.
With this, you needed to have a portable radio back then in case some war thing happened, and you never know. Who knows?
Instructions of where to be.
The Japanese are coming across the ocean again. We got to be ready for that. So you can buy those on layaway, by the way. Or let's say you're tired of being in all this time here. Head on out to the movies. There's good stuff playing in 1942. We have Laurel and Hardy in Great Guns and Crime Doesn't Pay. Does not
feature.
pay. Double feature. Fuck yeah. Also, this sounds like a porn. Jane Winters and Joe E. Brown Jr. star in Youth Must Be Served.
Oh my God, no.
That sounds like a porn, doesn't it? That sounds like teachers are fucking high school boys. That's what that sounds like.
Or she is the youth that is being served to the party.
She's being served. Friday only, Ronald Reagan, Lila Liss, and Eddie Foy in Murder in the Air.
Oh, you forget he was an actor.
Oh, yeah. Also a comedy cartoon. Yeah, you can forget he was an actor when everybody else was in a fucking war, too.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of those guys where you're like, hey, where were you? Him, and I'll even throw Sinatra in there, and I love Sinatra, but, you know. So Saturday night, Gene Autry and Smiley Burnett and Faye McKenzie star in Sierra Sue. So there's that. And then Cary Grant in His Girl Friday. Also, which is a very famous movie that's playing at that time, and that's Great Guns again, and then all the listings. Jesus, Go West, Young Lady is playing, Dressed to Kill, Roaring Frontiers. There's a lot of westerns here. Holy shit, a lot of westerns. If you don't want that though, let's say you're just going to stay home and catch up on your hygiene.
Yeah.
Make sure to get yourself some Colgate dental cream.
That sounds like you rub it on your teeth before you lay down.
And you leave it on there like a cream, like on top of a pie.
Yeah, like some eczema shit that you rub on after.
Yeah, like egg whites. It cleans your breath while it cleans your teeth. Oh. Yes. Scientific tests prove conclusively that 7 out of 10 cases, Colgate dental cream instantly stops oral bad breath. Colgate dental cream, you see, has an active penetrating foam, Jesus, that gets into the hidden crevices between your teeth, helps clean out decaying food particles, and stop stagnant saliva odors that are the cause of much bad breath. And Colgate has a soft, safe polishing agent that cleans enamel thoroughly yet gently, makes teeth naturally bright, sparkling. Besides, Colgate's delicious wake-up flavor makes it a favorite for children and grown-ups alike. And there's a picture of a young lady here with her finger on her cheek and a little bubble coming out of her mouth that says, "If it's kissing you're missing, use Colgate dental cream."
I wonder what the flavor was. What's wake up flavor? Is it peppermint or is it
It's probably a mint. It just says ribbon dental cream on it. So I don't know what the fuck. The ribbon is probably the mint part, I assume.
Yeah.
And then finally, also, you might want to maybe you're going to get a new place. You know what I mean? Maybe you've adopted some orphans from the East. So you got to get a new house here. I found a couple new houses here. I found, here's some houses unfurnished to rent. Here's one. Here we go. It's in North Knoxville, Tennessee. 5-room house in excellent condition, convenient to the bus. That's nice. A stone house is another one by owner. 5 rooms and a den with 2 bathrooms and a garage. Beautiful view. $55 a month.
$50 a month.
Yeah.
Rent it for less than $60.
Not too bad. Here's a big ad. A real suburban home in big letters. Mm-hmm. Situated on Cherokee Road, Woodson Edition. This home has 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, large living room, dining room, kitchen, large screened-in porch, 2-car garage, modern conveniences. Let's find out what those are, including electric water heater and stoker. All right. About 3 acres of land, well terraced with abundance of fine shade and an outstanding view of the distant valley and Smoky Mountains. $75 a month.
Wow.
What the fuck? Holy shit.
Those times prices.
Wow, that's pretty amazing here. God damn, this is wild, all these. And then finally, maybe you need a new ride. Uh-huh. Well, a used new ride. Go pick up a new car, a used new car, because they weren't really making them very much. Carter's Cars, the best trades in Knoxville. Let's see what you can get. A 1941 Plymouth 5-passenger sedan. It's only a year old. How much you think that goes for?
Right around $1,250.
$825.
Oh my God, they're so rad too. Those cars are so cool.
They're fucking dope.
And 5 passengers, that is a generous amount of space because you can't get 3 people in those today.
No, God, no.
Those tiny fucking. Oh, this is the 40s though, huh? These are actually pretty big.
42. These are big cars. Yeah.
These are big.
1941 Ford 85 Coupe, $795. 1939 Chevrolet Coach, $495.
Awesome.
1934 Plymouth Sedan, $89.
$89. Because it's 10 years old, you guys.
34 Chevy Coupe. Okay. Dope, right?
Yeah.
That's a $75.
Unbelievable.
75 fucking bucks. Ford 85 Deluxe Tudor, 1940, $695. 1936 Ford Coach, $195. 1938 Plymouth four-door touring sedan, $445. 1939 DeSoto touring sedan, $565. Holy shit, man. And then also on the same ad, in the same fucking thing, for sale, 1 pair 4-year-old mare mules at a bargain. So you can get
2 female mules.
Yeah, you can buy any of those cars
At a bargain. We don't even tell you how much they are.
Or a mule, either one.
$2.
Now let's say you have your new house, you have your new car in the driveway, you got the American dream.
You really
back then.
For $3,000, you bought everything.
You bought everything. You're going to need to entertain.
Yeah.
And how do you entertain? By, of course, making some food. So I found some recipes in the paper from 1942. This is amazing. Recipe number 1, liver loaf. I've never been nauseous reading something before until I found liver loaf.
I can't find in my brain a way that sounds tasty.
Oh my God. This is a whole meal. Liver loaf, buttered new potatoes, creamed cabbage, bread, rhubarb conserve, or whatever the fuck, chef's toss salad, tangy dressing. Okay. Liver loaf, 1 pound beef liver, chopped. 1/4 cup chopped cooked bacon, 1 cup soft breadcrumbs, 1 tablespoon minced onions. This might sound good out there. People eat scrapple, remember. Half cup of milk.
Liver and onions.
Just in a loaf. This is a meatloaf in a liver. 1 teaspoon minced parsley, 1/4 teaspoon celery salt, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 1/4 teaspoon white pepper, 2 eggs, beaten, or 4 yolks. Now, mix ingredients and pour into buttered loaf dish. Bake 40 minutes in moderate oven. Doesn't even tell you the temperature. Just
moderate
oven.
You call it.
Well,
we're cooking a liver. Why don't you tell us how to cook that?
A lot of people still had the fires back then that they were stoking, so you couldn't really tell a temperature. You just say,
you know when it's ready to cook.
Medium heat. Yeah, it's fucking insane. And then
the embers are red.
The chef's toss salad. What does a chef's salad in 1942 have? 12 thin crisp carrot strips. Okay, that's specific. 1 cup sliced radishes, 1/4 cup thinly sliced spring onions, 1/4 cup salt, or 1/4 teaspoon salt, 1 cooked cup peas, or 1 cooked cup peas, 1 cup cooked peas. Holy shit, that fell apart. 1 cup shredded lettuce, 1 cup. 4 tablespoons tangy dressing. There's only 1 cup of lettuce in all of that. That's not a chef's salad.
4 tablespoons of fucking dressing.
That is what the chef's salad is like ham in it and shit, doesn't it?
Soggy with dressing.
You'd be picking around looking for lettuce. There's more fucking. There's a cup of thinly sliced radish. There's as many radishes as lettuce. That's too much. Too much. And then to make the tangy dressing is salt, dry mustard, teaspoon paprika, blah, blah, blah. It's probably terrible. Who cares? Either way, there you go.
Liver loaf.
Liver loaf. That's a nice liver loaf and radish salad dinner if you want that, everybody. That sounds great.
I had liver and onions when I was a child, and I will never eat that. I had one bite and threw up. I will never eat that.
Me too, because it's gritty and weird.
Oh, God. That flavor is horrific.
Grandma told me it was steak. Not steak.
Oh, Grandma.
Well, my grandfather laughed because he knew I was catch it. I said, why does it smell so weird? And she said, but get the hell out of here and eat the goddamn steak. I said, oh, Jesus, I'm sorry. I ate the steak. And I just went, bah! I was like, what? That's disgusting. And my grandfather, that was the funniest thing in the fucking world.
It tastes like blood.
I told you you'd know.
That's what it tastes like. Meat blood. It's so bad.
It tasted like if you took, in a sneaker, there's like a sole, like a thing under your shoe, under your foot that you can take out. That's like the little padding thing. It tastes like if you made like a meat out of that. That's what it tastes like. It's got like a sweat and like dirt, and there's
blood,
dust and blood and
blood.
It's disgusting.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the WWII app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining WWII Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
with a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on WWII Plus. Join WWII Plus in the WWII app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
So,
yuck.
Either way, he, while he's doing this, is playing on the baseball team in jail. The jail, of course. Everybody had a baseball team back then. Every bakery, every prison, everything had a baseball team.
9 years of
obsessed.
Army Air Corps jail baseball.
But by 1949 here, or actually it's the 46th season, he starts to be noticed. Somebody notices him and sends a letter to a scout. The scout sends a letter to a baseball manager on a semi-pro minor league team. So like an independent minor league team. So they end up getting a look at him, and he catches the eye of the owner of the Atlanta Crackers.
Is that right?
Yeah, minor league team here. And they sign Rivera here for the 49 season. They finagle some shit and get him out of jail after 4.5 years.
What?
Is how it works, yeah. They finagle something because you could do. Billy Martin got Ron LaFleur out in the fucking 70s, and that was a thing you could do back then. You could just go as like a sports coach. You could go pick somebody out, and they just let him out. Well, if he's going to play sports.
Yeah. I realize he's got a penalty phase that he has to go through, but let's make him serve that time on the diamond where I can benefit from this.
He's really hitting the hell out of the ball, I'll tell you what.
Hate to waste that.
So he said the reason why he got sentenced so harshly was, quote, that nurse, it wouldn't have been so bad, but I had stuff on me like breaking and entering when I was a kid. I never done any time for it, but it was on the record and it made it look tough. So said they looked at me as like, oh, you're this thug who now you joined the army and now you're raping officers' daughters and you're out of control.
They treated me like criminal behavior evolves.
From breaking in, like maybe I'd try to rape somebody next time I broke in somewhere, that sort of thing, He said, this is amazing. Then he goes into this. They couldn't make the rape charge stick, so they called it attempted rape.
Gross.
Now you tell me, what's attempted rape? Where do you draw the line? There's a lot of legal... Okay, this guy already, his two quotes.
Wow.
Between that and, anybody could get you on assault with intent to rape. Anybody could get you on that.
What a sentence.
That is a bit much.
It's a wide question, man.
He just said, where do you draw the line? Well, I mean, if we're talking theoretically, sure. Is driving by somebody within a car attempted rape? I guess you could say that. Or do you actually have to try to force your penis or another thing into somebody? That's probably along those lines, I would imagine.
Telling a girl she got a cute fat ass, is that rape? Is that
attempted rape?
Because I clearly want to fuck her?
Where do you draw the line? Well, probably pre whatever you did. I'm going to say that's where you draw the line.
It's back a few paces, sir.
Yeah, back this way from where you ended up is where the line is. That's clearly by the law anyway. That's what it is. Yeah. I think they made that perfectly clear by sentencing him to prison, right?
So by sentencing you to life at first,
they made sure you knew what was going on here. Where do you draw the line? Finally, they had to call it assault with intent to commit rape. I got 20 years. Hell, they were giving guys 20 years for AWOL. So back then, if you went AWOL. So he's like,
saying rape is equivalent to not showing up for your military job?
He was saying that you could basically, for any little thing, you could get sentenced to 20 years. And, any little thing like trying to rape a chick in his mind is a little thing, which is ridiculous. With assault. Jesus Christ, man. He said it was knocked down to 11, then 9. I did the 4.5. Earl Mann, owner of the Chattanooga team, tried to get me out because I was going so good for the prison team, but I never played pro ball till 49. Wow. So his first organized pro minor league ball here is when he's 28 years old. Think about that. He's well past. That's like when you should be in your prime,
right?
Crushing. So here's he goes to the minor leagues here. He's in a couple. He plays for Gainesville. He plays for the Atlanta Crackers. He plays for, what are the name of these teams? The Gainesville G-Men, the Pensacola Flyers, the Atlanta Crackers, and then the Seattle Rainiers, which is a famous team, very famous team with that red R hat. Yeah. So either way here, he said he did all of that. 1949, he comes in. He starts playing center field for the Gainesville team here. Yeah. And this is from the paper, okay, from an article from the newspaper. Watch Jim Rivera cavort in the clubhouse, dash around on the diamond, and play pranks on teammates. And you get the idea that he doesn't have a care in the world.
You get the idea that he didn't learn his lesson about assault raping women.
Jesus Christ. I mean, where do you draw the line, really?
I suppose he
right here, Jim.
quote unquote paid his debt to society, but
yeah,
it's tough to have a flamboyant outgoing personality when people know what you've done.
Yeah, hopefully he keeps his dick in his pants, but we don't know. So 1949, he plays in 137 games. Here. We'll call this grace. He got to the majors after all that, even though we're past grace probably because he did attempt to rape a woman. So either way, making it here, we'll just call it grace. I don't fucking care. So he has 529 at-bats that year, 142 runs he scores, which is incredible. That's incredible. Has 177 hits, 36 doubles, 16 triples, which is a lot, 13 homers, 102 RBI, and he hits .335.
He's getting on base a lot.
Yeah, how he's crushing it. Yeah, he's doing amazing here. 1950, he plays for both Atlanta and Pensacola in the two leagues here. For Pensacola, where he plays 124 games, he hits .338 with 20 homers, 29 doubles, fucking ripping it up over here. It's pretty goddamn impressive. So then they move him up to Seattle. And in Seattle, he does wonderful, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. But it's AAA Seattle, actually. Yeah. And he plays in 166 games, has 739 plate appearances that year, which is a lot. 135 runs, 231 hits. He hits .352 that year.
Shit.
Jesus Christ. That's really good if you don't know anything about baseball. 20 homers, 112 ribbies, and 33 steals, by the way. His first year in Gainesville, 49, he had 55 stolen bases.
So he's fast, too.
He's a nut. By his style, we'll talk about it, but he is, the best way I can liken him is Lenny Dykstra in the 40s and 50s. Is the best way I can liken him.
Gets after it.
When Lenny Dykstra played, now he's obviously out of his mind, but when he played, and he got arrested a whole bunch and all that, but when he played, he was a fan favorite because he was crazy. He'd run into the wall. Everything he did was full blast, full bore. I'm not the biggest guy, but I'm going to stick it right up your ass kind of a guy. And that's what Jim is, except Jim also has like a real like fun streak to him. Like he's also Mr. Jokester and all that kind of shit. So he's got all of that going for him. He's crushing shit. He dives in. He's like the first guy to go head first when he slides into bases.
Oh.
He's the first guy to do that regularly. And you're obviously the way they teach you in baseball to slide into a base is feet first.
Yeah, spikes up.
1 foot out. Well, not technically, but back then it was spikes up, break up that double play. But he said that he's seen a lot of people, when you slide in hard to a bag, break their fucking ankles like that.
Yeah.
So he said, I'd rather break my finger than an ankle any day of the week. I'm not doing that. So he dives in head first. It's his style.
Strategically, it's smart because you can move your arms in different ways that you can't move your legs. So if you're sliding in, your foot just goes straight. And somebody knows where to tag you. If you're slide in head first, if they go to tag your arm, you can move it around the you know what I mean?
Yeah. At the same time, though, when you're going feet first, you can kick the ball out of the glove.
That's a good
point.
And
you can fucking knock the guy over with your shins and take him out. And that's back then. That was a hard slide at second base was mandatory. If on like a double play ball, you had to go in and fucking that guy better be hurt. He better be limping away from it, or else
destroy his shins.
Your teammates are fucking mad at you, basically. So either way, he did it. He's stealing all these bases. He's hitting the ball all around the park. They, really like him. He's stealing stealing bases all the time. They they love him. One reporter said, quote, he runs in the outfield like a deer, on the bases like an express train, and he throws like a rifle.
Okay.
So really getting their similes in there and working it out. So July 23rd, 1951. Oh, by the way, when he was in Seattle, he caught the eye of Rogers Hornsby, who is
no kidding.
Hall of Fame, very famous baseball player, a great hitter, and a guy who was managing in the minors at this point. So
made famous for children in the 80s by his very expensive baseball card.
No, that's you're thinking of not
Honus Wagner, but also
Wagner,
Rogers
Hornsby had one too.
He had one too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now it's the most expensive one ever. It was just sold. His baseball card topped Honus Wagner's card. Just recently.
Interesting. So either way, Hornsby here is he's a legend. So I mean, guys like that, he takes a liking to Jim while he's in Seattle there.
Yeah.
But on July 23rd, 1951. The Chicago White Sox purchase his contract, Jim's contract, from the Seattle of the Pacific Coast League. The Chicago White Sox pay the club, they'll say, between $50,000 and $65,000.
That's so much money.
Which is a fuckload of money. He was the MVP of the Pacific Coast League, too. He's the best player in AAA, basically. So, which a lot of these guys in AAA are 19, or in the minors are 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
He's fucking almost 30. So he's a man. He's in this physical prime. He's not, he's strong. So, he comes up there. Doesn't last long, though. On November 27th, 1951, the White Sox trade him. Before they even get to do anything with him, they trade him here. They trade him with Joe D. Mastry, Gordon Goldsberry, Dick Littlefield, Gus Nijaros to the St. Louis Browns. For
lineup.
Yeah, for Sherm Lawler, Tom Upton, and Al Widmar. So, now apparently the Browns bring him right up to the majors.
Yeah.
And there are complaints that they are hiring him.
Yeah.
Actually,
he's
still
dangerous.
People are like, that's not good. They look at his record.
Guy seems to be a bad guy.
Yeah, this is from an article here. Complaints were lodged against the Browns complaints were lodged against the Browns. Compliments. Good job hiring that attempted rapist. We need to find out where the line is, folks, and he's going to tell us.
Didn't today's Browns just do this same thing?
I think they did, yeah. I think they're pretty close on it here. Complaints are lodged against the Browns for hiring just put name here.
Man. Yeah.
Because of his background that included a 5-year term in the Atlanta Federal Penitentiary, St. Louis owner Bill Veeck, who is the craziest son of a bitch ever, he's the guy. You ever see the picture of the guy who's like 2'8" in the batting stand and he'd put him in a game so he couldn't. You know what I mean?
Zone. Yeah.
No strike zone. He did all that crazy shit. The disco demolition night, all that. That's all Bill Veeck's idea. Yeah, he owned the White Sox at that time.
Did he also do the dime beer night?
No, I think that was Cleveland. But he would have done dumb shit like that. He did all sorts of crazy shit. He's known for it. So he'd be a fun bonus episode, actually, to talk about him because he's fucking crazy. He did so many crazy shit. So they said that owner Bill Veeck, as well as Commissioner Ford Frick, were aware of his background, of Rivera's background. Veeck's reply to the complaints was, quote, "I thought that in this country the idea is to give a fellow a chance to straighten out."
Oh, boy.
Not to be raping people out there. Jesus Christ.
Is that what I don't know if that's what it is.
I don't know either. Well, Ford Frick, the commissioner, said, quote, "If the purpose is punishment, then Rivera has already been punished. If the purpose is for improvement, then this man has a greater chance to make good by being allowed to live as others. Since Rivera has come into baseball, his conduct has been beyond question. If in the future he shows he's not profited by his experience, this office will take action."
Okay.
All right, so there's that where obviously there's leeriness, but then there's this where Rogers Hornsby says in the newspaper, quote, "He's the only player in baseball I'd pay my $2 to go to the ballpark to watch."
Raj.
He said he's the only one because of the way he plays. He's fucking plays like a maniac and he loves it. So, they said that Hornsby warned him, though, when he brought him in, quote, "I'm on the spot and so are you," he told him, basically. Like,
now, listen, I've thrown my neck out there for you.
Listen, you get raping, I'm going to be in trouble here. Let's just put it that way. He said, "I think you're the best rookie I've ever had under me, but they're not going to let you forget your past. They're going to give it to you as hard and as mean and as often as they can." Jesus, that sounds...
They're going to rape you.
That sounds like he's going to prison. As often as they can. They're going to get you in the shower. They're going to get you when you think lights are out. They're going to get you all the time. My God. Rivera said, quote, "What can they say to me that I ain't already heard? Am I going to pay attention to a guy calling me names now? It's like being born again. Don't I know what a chance I got now? Don't I know what a chance I had before? Or don't I know what I had before?" And then he said, quote, "Look," he says, "I'm not fooling myself. I know what kind of life I lived before. I never amounted to anything. But this is different. I got a chance to be somebody, to live like a person. I got a nice wife and child. I got money for the first time. I got something to live for now, to fight for."
Okay.
Well, you could have fought Hitler before, too, and you raped somebody instead, or attempted to rape somebody. So that was you had something to fight for, the freedom of the world. But
instead you fought for your own.
Instead you fought for a captain's daughter's fucking vag. That's a different side. This is fucking, you're a bad guy. So anyway, Rogers Hornsby said, quote, "I think he'll make it. I think he'll make it."
Okay.
He said, then Hornsby went on to say, "I'd rather watch Rivera play more than anybody else. He does everything he can to beat you." So he goes to the St. Louis Browns, which people, if you're younger and you don't know baseball history, they're going, "What the fuck is a St. Louis Brown? That doesn't exist anymore."
Yeah.
Well, they were first, this is the funny thing, they were originally in pre-1901, they were the Milwaukee Brewers.
Is that right?
Absolutely. And then they went to they were a charter member of the American League back then, as a matter of fact, back in like 1901. And then after the 1901 season, they moved to St. Louis and became the St. Louis Browns. And after this season, this is the 52 season, after the 53 season, they relocate to, Jimmy, do you know?
Cincinnati.
Baltimore. They become the Orioles. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, they're the Orioles. That's who they are. The Browns.
I do like when teams move to cities and change the mascot of the team, or the name of the team. You know what I mean?
Like the Browns moved to Baltimore, became the Ravens. Yeah, I get
I
what
don't
you.
like Arizona Cardinals. That's stupid.
The Utah Jazz is the one that's the funniest one of all.
Dumbest shit on earth.
Yeah, there's no jazz in Utah, obviously.
No. and the dominant religion frowns upon having fun.
Yeah. It's like basketball, where the Jazz moved to Utah, where they don't allow music.
Right.
The Minneapolis Lakers moved to Los Angeles, where there are no lakes. And the New Orleans Jazz moved to Utah, where they don't allow music. That's the line from basketball, I believe.
That's hysterical. Damn it.
It was fucking funny.
Those boys are terrific.
The 1952 St. Louis Browns, they go 64, 90, and 1.
That's not great.
No, 1 because they had a tie. You could have curfew ties back then, and that's how it would work. If
we got to go home.
Well, if you don't play them again, and it was like the going away game, and that's how it would work. Curfew tie or a ballpark darkness is the other thing. A lot of ballparks didn't have lights still back then. So
that's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting here. They're terrible. They finished 7th in the American League. Okay. This is just American League, National League, and if you win your division, which is the whole league, you go right to the World Series. There's no playoffs in between.
Wow.
So it's regular season, World Series, that's it. So, they're playing here. Manager is Rogers Hornsby for this team. Now, he says, this is from 1952. Up to now, this is from the newspaper. Quote, up to now, Big Jim, as he likes to be called, hasn't lived up to this tremendous buildup. Except for his blinding speed, Rivera has not looked any different from the ordinary rookies. He has yet to flash the form that earned him the most valuable player tag in the Pacific Coast League, based on a .352 batting mark and leading figures in runs, hits, total bases, runs batted in, and stolen bases. So he's not doing well. Now, right around this time in July, the season goes on, they fire Rogers Hornsby in June.
Is that right?
Yeah, they shit can Hornsby, okay? Don't give him much of a chance at all here. And then in July, they decide, don't need you either, and they trade Jim away as well. They trade him July 28th, 1952, by the Browns with Darrell Johnson back to the White Sox for Ray Coleman and Jay Porter. So there we go. Now that year for the Browns, he played in 97 games, actually. Hit .256.
Not bad.
Not terrible. He's a rookie. 4 homers, 8 stolen bases. Not terrible. Then for the White Sox, in 53 games, he hit he hit 249. 320s on base. He had 3 homers, 18 ribbies, 13 steals. So pretty good. He's got to feel good. He's a major leaguer. He is over. He's 31 years old at this point.
Unbelievable.
And he's completing his first major league season. He's actually got something going on. And then it's got to feel, the last day of the season must have felt great for him. You know what I mean?
I can't imagine, yeah.
Right up until the time he gets arrested in the clubhouse. It must have been wonderful for him. It must have been wonderful for him right up until the point when everybody else was getting changed and cracking beers and smoking cigarettes and joking and laughing and talking about what they're going to do in the off season and where they're going to go fishing. And he's being dragged out in handcuffs. He's being dragged out in handcuffs from the clubhouse. Not wonderful here. He is charged with, what do you think?
I'm terrified.
Raping a 22-year-old married woman.
Of course he is.
In Chicago. Starting to get a pattern here. Right?
Seems to be a violent rapist.
Seems to really lean into the rape a little hard here.
Yeah.
He admits being intimate with the woman, but says that he did not rape her. He said this was all happy, consensual business here.
Okay.
Said we were at a hotel.
Because she's married and he found out or something?
Oh, yeah. He's also in the military as another guy. He's like another fucking military guy, too, he said. So, yeah, he's arrested. It is a charge. What does this say here? Pulled right out of the clubhouse. It's the complaint of a 22-year-old wife of a soldier that claims that he raped her. She's also a statistician for the baseball team. She works for the fucking White Sox.
You can't do that.
And was working as an usher that day at the park.
Oh, Jesus.
You can't. Come on, man. Jesus Christ.
Co-worker, bud.
He's held overnight for questioning by the Police Sex Bureau.
That's weird.
That's why they went to SVU, I think, rather than the Police Sex. That would be Law and Order. Police Sex Bureau is a different show completely. Ice-T on that show would be amazing. Police Sex Bureau, I'm going to see how freaky you get, and open up. Open up. It's the freaky check.
Sex Bureau. We got a camcorder.
Sex Bureau. That'd be amazing.
Sex Bureau. Me and Coco is here.
We're here. Oh, we're going to make it sexy if it ain't already. Don't you worry about nothing. By the way,
Bureau. Me and Coco gonna show you how it's done.
Now that we romped all over y'all, made this a real nice night for everybody, let me tell you all about CarShield. And to tell you more about CarShield, here's Ric Flair and Allen Iverson, because I know you want them in your house also. They're very trustworthy people.
Bureau.
Police Sex Bureau. Open up. That sounds like they're going to either have sex with you or force you to have sex like in front of a panel of people, and then they're going to give you notes on it of what you can do better. Like they used to have like the farm bureaus of guys that would come in and tell you how your farm could run more efficiently and shit by the government. Maybe that's what this is.
Have you seen American Psycho?
Oh, my God.
Fuck like he fucked.
The Police Sex Bureau. What the fuck?
It's an asshole. Eat it.
This is why I love old-timey episodes. You're not going to pull us out of today. No one ever.
Why do we make fun of Mike Tyson's obvious speech impediment, but we give Ice-T like the best roles in TV, and he can barely speak.
But his whole communication is his whole business. He's a rapper. Speaking is what he does. You know what he's saying.
Yeah, you know what he's saying, but
he says it loud and clear.
It's hard.
Zimmerman is going to investigate. He says it so loud and so clear. You know exactly what he's saying.
It's hard to listen to.
He's one of those people that his voice makes me happy. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
This motherfucker's.
There he is.
Yeah, it just makes me happy. So he is the woman he has denied raping to the Police Sex Bureau.
Yeah.
God, does sound like a fun guy, right?
Yeah.
Is Mrs. Janet Gator. And they call in the paper the accusation and told them the attractive brunette statistician submitted willingly after inviting him to her South Side apartment. So he said, she invited me over, we did the fucking dirty, and then
she's got
now
remorse.
What's going on over here? So, he's arrested during the game. He was pointed out by this woman, and it's pretty interesting of how she recognized him, actually. How do you think she ID'd him? Well, she ID'd him because she said when she met him, he said, quote, "I'm Jim Rivera, the great baseball player." So that'll do it.
Using that as a pickup line.
Plus, she keeps track of how many stolen bases he has because she's the statistician. So I assume she knows who he is at that point. So, yep, arrested, pointed out by him. They drag him out of the clubhouse in handcuffs here. She told police that she was walking her dog outside of her place there and was carrying books and newspapers when he introduced himself, or I guess she heard a whistle.
Yeah.
And the dog reacted to the whistle. She said, I don't know if the person was whistling at me or whistling at the dog or whatever. Now, the dog like lunged toward him, like playfully. So she has a bunch of books and newspapers in her hand and dragged the one hand away. So she dropped a bunch of her stuff.
Yeah.
So then he comes up and starts picking up her stuff with her, which is, like a romantic comedy fucking meeting, you're
cliche help. Yeah.
Yeah, your dog was so friendly and wanting me to pet it that it lunged at me, so then I help you pick up your stuff. Oh, hey, here you go. Sorry about that. Oh, I didn't mean to be so attractive to dogs. You know what I mean?
I don't mean to be such a great dog guy.
I'm just a great guy. Just dogs know it. They sense my greatness, man. What do? I'm a magazine editor. Okay. So, because that's in a romantic comedy, it would be that. So anyway, he helps pick up the packages and escorts her. Let me help you carry these back to you. You live right here? No problem. Let me help you carry.
Let me help you get to a secluded place.
That's fine. I'll help you carry. Now, they got to the apartment. She said that he went in ahead of her. She opened the door and he walked right in with the packages and put them down. Sure. And then she said he refused to leave when she asked him to. She said, you can go now. And he said, quote, take it easy. That's what he said back to her. Take it easy.
Let me pitch some ideas to you first.
No. How about no? You just forced your way into my home, stranger. How about not?
This is now a negotiation. You would like me to leave. How about no?
How about no?
And you take off those clothes.
Stranger who's done 4.5 years federal time for rape. I don't know. Or attempted rape or assault with intent to rape or whatever the fuck
happened.
it was.
Yeah.
So she said she decided that since he wasn't going anywhere, she'd offer him something to drink because it is 1952 and you have to be polite. So she offers him a soft drink, gets him a bottle of soda. Yeah. So, whatever. And she has a cup of coffee with him. They sit and chat, I guess. And then she claims at that point that he became amorous, as she put it, and he resisted. But she said she was too terrified to physically resist him anymore. She couldn't fight him off. She didn't want to. I guess she was too terrified to physically fight him off and couldn't. So she said he forced her into a bedroom and forced himself on her. Jesus. And she called police. And but she didn't call police. She called her husband.
Yeah.
Later on that night, who then called police, and then the police went to talk to her. And she said, then she went to the hospital, and they said, well, yes, this woman's had sex, yes. Whatever that is. And she said she identified him as the guy, and there you go. So he's her husband is in the 5th Army headquarters in Chicago and was working part-time as a theater usher at the time of the incident. So that's why he was at work. So that's what was going on. So they book him for rape is what this is. Right. And the charges here, though, he demands to take a lie detector test. That's what he says. I want a lie detector. She was into this. This was we've hooked up. This isn't like we talked and she said, come back to my place. And I went back to her place. Like, this is fucking crazy. So it is a rape charge. He ends up going and gets acquitted on the rape charge.
Is
actually,
that right?
Goes to court, gets acquitted on it. And, so now are they going to let him play? Because this is all like during the season. Right. And Ford Frick there, the commissioner, says that his status hasn't been determined yet. He asked permission to do barnstorming, which is, playing where there's no teams. They go, major leaguers do that. He was denied permission to do that, and he signed to play for a club in the Puerto Rican Winter League while awaiting the decision from the commissioner here. He says that they had a room where they lived in, this girl and her husband, at the Gladstone Hotel. Yeah. And he said she invited him up to her room at the Gladstone, and her husband got mad about it because he found out, and that's why the charges were filed.
That's his side of the story.
That's his side of the story. Mm-hmm. He says later on, this is an interview I saw years later, he said that after it was all over, she called me and tried to get together again with me. After the court, after everything. I said, you got it. Some kind of nerve on you. Go fly a kite. That was his exact quote from it. He said,
fool me once.
Yeah. He said, yeah, we did it, but it was on purpose. Like, she was into it. And his lawyer, Robert Romano, said he called a hearing before the judge. He called in the paper. He called it a kangaroo court. And he continually objected to her testimony. Like, they went right after a alleged rape victim here, went right hardcore at him. Romano, the lawyer, said, quote, I've been denied every right. You've already held my client before you. You heard the evidence. I'll make this offer to the public. I'll have my client take a lie detector test anytime if this woman will take one too. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't take one, but they arranged for him to have a lie detector test by a mutually agreed upon agency by the defense and the prosecutor. And I guess he passed it because they dropped the charges. He doesn't get acquitted. Wow. They end up the grand jury doesn't indict because of the lie detector. So November 12th, 1952, he's given, quote, indefinite probation by the major leagues here.
That's not a good...
No, he's on double secret. Don't fuck up or you're suspended forever. Ford Frick orders him on indefinite probation and said that that the White Sox, at one more slip-up by him, would result in his expulsion from baseball. He said the penalty imposed on Rivera was a lenient one here. That's what he even said, Frick. He said, I could have made it worse. Will be permitted to play. He said that Frick said that he considers Rivera guilty of, quote, a certain type of moral delinquency, despite his exoneration by the Cook County grand jury.
Fuck does that even mean?
He's not living up to the best image of the league. He's having he's a married man. He's having affairs with married women, even if that's true and it wasn't rape. Good God, his moral turpitude, gross.
Just
the fuck out of here.
He's terrible.
Yeah, you don't have to hang out with him, But either way, they also say for the next year, the White Sox are not allowed to trade him or sell him or anything like that as well. Okay. And he places the burden of responsibility for his conduct on and off the field with the White Sox. It is their job to watch him, basically. He's on probation, and the White Sox are his officers, is what he's saying. They will penalize.
Yeah.
He's saying he'll penalize the team if he does something wrong as well.
My Pinkertons, get into it.
That's it. So the commissioner recognizes, as does the Chicago American League Club, Frick said, that they have an obligation to the public to maintain the highest possible standards of morality among the men who are connected with the game.
Yeah.
So he disclosed that he called Rivera to his office on October 20th, 4 days after the rape charge had been dismissed, and received the player's entire history. He said, I made it clear to him that because of his previous difficulties, he was lucky to have gone as far as he did. He said, I hope he realizes from hereafter we're not going to wait until he gets to court. So from hereafter, anything goes down, you're out. Done. Yep. He said, to the best of his knowledge, this is the first time a commissioner of baseball has had to make a decision on a morals charge. Well, it's not going to be the last, Chief. I'll tell you that much. Hang in there. Wow. In Chicago, the president of the White Sox, Mrs. Grace Comiskey, she expressed her delight over the commissioner's ruling that permitted Rivera to remain in baseball. She said, I had hoped and prayed that Rivera would be given another chance. He really deserves a chance because I believe the recent charge against him was unfair. Wow. I don't believe the fans will reject him. I have had many, many letters from fans, all favorable to Rivera's cause. We'll sit back and watch him play and hope he'll appreciate this new lease on baseball life given him.
Mom, that's two charges of rape, though.
That's what I mean. In less than 10 years.
Yeah, that's frightening.
That's a lot. So then Frick said the commissioner cannot place himself in the position of going over the heads of the American grand jury. He's saying, if they didn't indict him, how can I?
Yeah.
Good God. He said at the same time, the commissioner recognizes, as does the Chicago American League, that they have the obligation that we've talked about before. And it's obvious that Mr. Rivera has been guilty again of a certain moral delinquency. So either way, 1953 is on the field, no problem, though. For the White Sox in 53 finish 89, 65, and 2.
Not bad.
2 ties. Third in the American League.
Yeah.
So not too shabby here. He in this lineup as well, Nellie Fox, who's a guy people have heard of. Right. He's a great player for a long time, second baseman. Minnie Minoso is in this. A lot of guys with old-timey names. Sherm, Nellie, Chico.
Minnie,
a couple of Bobs, a Sam, Red, a guy named Red Wilson,
yeah.
A guy named Rocky. A guy named Vern, a guy named Fred, and 2 guys named Bud.
2
Buds. Not 1, but 2 Buds. So there you go. Not too bad here this year. That's the team. They're a good team, though. That's 89 and 65 is a good team, but you finish third and there's no wild card. Your season's just over. That's it.
Yeah.
Done and done and done. So here is from the newspaper here. But Rivera was the same way, diving headfirst into bases, crashing into walls, and diving head over hills in the outfield grass. Playing like that just came natural to me, said the man, who is still in good enough shape to win by the way, he'll win the state handball doubles title when he's an old man.
Okay.
Later on. His kind of all-out play earned him the nickname Jungle Jim. Okay.
Oh, from all the running. All right.
Yeah. He said, quote, "We were playing the Dodgers in an exhibition game, and I was up against Don Newcomb. He didn't throw a very good curve, and I was a fastball hitter. I got one and hit it good. When I was going to second base, I was swinging my arms kind of crazy, and then I made this wild headfirst slide. In the next day's paper, Chicago sports writer Howie Roberts called me Jungle Jim for the first time, and it just stuck."
Okay.
So, yeah, that was
the second double play ball guy.
Just waving around and all that shit. And I guess when he was out in the outfield too, like when he would wave off other outfielders, he'd do it all crazy. So they just called him like whatever. So, he said the head first slide, all the people talked about it. Oh, he slides different than everyone else. What's he doing? It made him like this showman because he slid in head first.
He's going to hurt himself.
He's crazy. He said, quote, "I'd rather have a broken finger than an ankle." That's it. That's all it is. And he says he thinks sliding in head first gives the runner a bit of an edge because in a close decision and calls for close scrutiny by the umpire. He said he thinks it's better, I think that's true. I think you're right. So this year he plays in 156 games, which is every single fucking game. That's what they had back then. So it was 154. They go to 156. Anyway, so either way, he has 639 plate appearances, which is not too goddamn bad. Hits .259, not too shabby. Leads the league in triples, 16 triples. Wow. Leads the league. 11 home runs, 78 steals, 78 ribbies, 26 doubles, 15 steals. Or I'm sorry, 22 steals. Not bad.
Wow.
So good season. His best buddies on the team were the second baseman Nellie Fox and catcher Sherm Lawler, and a pitcher named Billy Pierce. And he said, "We used to hang together and play cards." So that was their whole, really not much else to do back then. Nellie Fox, he said, he was just a little guy and played with everything he had. He set an example, and they played like that. Just quickly to give you an overview of the American and National League at this point, because they're a little different. The American League consists of, this is the standings, I'll read them down that year. Yankees, Cleveland Indians, Chicago White Sox, Boston Red Sox, Washington Senators, Detroit Tigers, Philadelphia Athletics.
Wow.
This is before they went to Kansas City and then Oakland, and then the St. Louis Browns in the cellar as usual.
So 9.
Losing 100 games. Yep, and then the National League, Brooklyn Dodgers, Milwaukee Braves. They just moved there from Boston a few years ago. Philadelphia Phillies, St. Louis Cardinals, New York Giants, yet to go to San Francisco. Same thing with Brooklyn. Cincinnati, still technically known as the Redlegs at this point. Not technically the Reds. They were called the Reds, but they're technically the Redlegs. Cubs, and then Pirates after that. So that's the league at this point. 1954, they finished 94, 60, and 1, which is third in the AL. 94 wins, no playoffs, third in the AL. Go home. Yep. That's pretty rough. Now, the Chicago White Sox general manager said about Rivera here, quote, "Jungle Jim may not have the fattest average in baseball, but he gives the fans a show with his daredevil running and sliding, his terrific fielding and clutch hitting." He says runs like a deer and all that shit.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them, or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From WWII, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the WWII app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining WWII Plus in the WWII app or on Apple Podcasts.
So anyway, 1954, Jim here, 145 games played, pretty good, 286 batting average. So that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
I would say 8 triples, 13 homers, 61 ribbies, 18 stolen bases. Pretty good year. Not too shabby at all. I mean, not an embarrassment. Right. Definitely a major leaguer.
Putting the ball in play.
Yeah. 1955, White Sox go 91-63-1.
Uh-huh.
Third place.
Jesus Christ, man.
It's brutal. And the Yankees are winning.
How good are the Dodgers?
The Dodgers are in the National League.
How good are the Yankees?
Really good. They're a dynasty through this time period. This is Mickey Mantle's coming up. Right. They just dropped DiMaggio. This is, Phil Rizzuto, Billy Martin, Elston Howard. This is quite the squad here. Roger Maris later on. It's at this point that he buys a Cadillac.
Okay.
All right, in 1955. He's very proud of this Cadillac. Big old Cadillac. And the Comiskey, the owner of the team, he said that he understood Jim's basic weakness, which was a generosity that let others take advantage of him. Okay. He was one of these guys before entourages. He had an entourage. He had friends. He had people, guys from the orphanage. His family he had a lot of people to take care of too.
He's giving away his dick too, James, even to people who don't want it.
He is definitely that's making an appearance. He's going to package it up and put a bow on it if you're getting it, whether you want it or not. Yeah. So. They said that he could be taken advantage of. They said he could be booked for personal appearances, and they wouldn't even pay him, and he'd be okay with it. He'd do shit for free all the time.
Really?
Because he just thought that's what you did. He was so happy to be there. Even guys that whenever he'd go out, people would stick him with the tab all the time. He was really terrible with money, basically, just awful about it. The only thing that could be worse is if he had a coke habit. That's the only thing that could make it worse, or like a gambling habit. So. Comiskey suggested that the White Sox, to Jim, he said, listen, how about we hold back a portion of your pay to put aside for you as a little nest egg?
Like a degenerate gambling comic.
Yeah, like that. Oh, I got a story for you about that one, by the way, too.
I know one.
You know one?
Should we? Yeah.
Did you? No, I got a story that happened 4 days ago.
Oh, my God. No way.
Yeah, there's a message, and oh boy,
oh no!
It's still bad.
Norm was a terrific man, but he used to have he wouldn't get his check from comedy clubs because he would just go gamble it all. So his check would go through his agents, and they would give him portions because they didn't want him to be broke.
That's what happens. A lot happens to a lot of people. So gambling is rough, but this guy, it's just pissing it away here. Mm-hmm. So Jim was happy. He was like, "Will you do that for me? That'd be great."
Saying no fucking way.
Yeah, let's do it. So he said, "Take the money, put it aside." So apparently he got by 1955 there was $7,200 in his account with the White Sox. So that's good. That's a lot of money back then.
Doing great.
Jim came in and asked for $7,000.
Jim, that's all you got.
Well, this is what they wanted from me because he saved up. Now he wanted to buy a new Cadillac.
Okay.
So they're like, now you have the money. Otherwise, you would have pissed all the money away. He's like, I have $7,000. I want to buy this Cadillac. So he had $7,200. So Comiskey, filled him out a check and gave it to him, and it was for $7,200.
Mm-hmm.
And he said but it's for $7,200. I only wanted $7,000. And he said that's $200 more than the car costs. And the guy said, yeah, but you're going to need something for tips. Like, he said, if you're pissing it away, just piss it away, whatever.
Just get rid of all of it.
Yeah. And then he said 256 hitters shouldn't drive $7,000 cars is the other thing he said, which I thought was really fucking funny. That's a great line. What are you hitting? I don't know if that's a $7,000 car batting average there, Chief.
Well, maybe swing at a $4,000 car for now.
A little lower. Hit 300, you get a $7,000. That's Cadillac territory. Cadillacs are for closers. So 55, he plays in 147 games. He hits 264 with 10 homers, 52 ribbies, leads the league in stolen bases with 25.
Okay.
So does something. Yeah, he's doing all right. He's not too bad at all. And for the first time ever, he has more walks than strikeouts, too. He's even getting better at figuring that out, which that's one of those things. Your eye and balls and strikes and everything, that's how long you've been playing the game. So if he hasn't played half as much as anybody else his age, he's learning these skills that you should learn when you're 22, 23 coming up.
Yeah.
You can't learn them till now because he didn't have time. But he's doing well, though, and he's playing a good outfield. They'll move him to first base. He'll play there. He can play wherever. He's very versatile. 1956, White Sox finish 85-39. You know what place that is, Jimmy? Third place. Third place.
At least they're consistent.
This is the era of what's known as the go-go White Sox. This is kind of, there's famous, team eras. Go-go White Sox are a certain era of team where they're all real fast.
When did they start the playoffs? Did that not start till the 70s?
Yeah, that didn't start until the late 60s, early 70s that started. I think that started the same time the DH started. They brought in playoffs.
This would have been an amazing time to watch baseball if you've got
to see extra series between fucking the Dodgers and Giants between Willie Mays and Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale and
they blew it.
Yeah. Oh, they absolutely blew it. Yeah, they absolutely blew it. And baseball back then too was in that we don't change anything.
Yeah.
It's now tradition. Which was silly, and now they're in the we'll change everything. It's not even fucking baseball anymore.
We'll fucking let you use your feet.
We'll put clocks and computers in, and we'll make it so there's like all this shit. We'll make managers irrelevant. We'll make catchers irrelevant. Why don't we fuck having a catcher? There's no more framing after whenever next year or something. So why have catchers anymore? Just have just have a big black thing with an outline like you put on the side of your house when you're a kid, and wherever it hits, it'll light up. Why don't we do it like that? Let's just do it like that.
Have a machine back there that catches the ball and just fires it straight to second after every play.
That's on. Why have stolen bases anyway? Right. They just clog up the game and get in the way. Fuck stolen bases too. Don't have that. Have guys stand there while a guy pitches at a black mat that registers strikes or not, and a guy sits there waiting for the pitch he wants and tries to hit home runs with it. Let's just do that.
It's so dumb.
How about that? That'll be the baseball. And they'll be like, that's what the kids will like. And guess what? The kids don't like that either.
No. The kids don't like what you're doing to the game now.
Now old people hate it, and the kids still think it sucks. Guess what? You can't make baseball from a slow pastoral 3-hour game into some fast-paced fucking X Games. That's not what fucking baseball is. So you can't make it that and that at the same time. All you're doing is ruining it for everybody.
I went to watch football yesterday with my dad, and there's that little Italian guy that you're going to be in your fucking 80s was there. And I asked him, I haven't seen him in since before COVID. So I asked him how he'd been, and he goes, "Oh, I'm good. I'm going to be here this week. Come by on Tuesday and watch the games with me." Or Thursday, whatever the game, the next fucking series is starting. And he goes, "I'll be here to watch the baseball games or whatever the fuck this sport is."
I'm telling you.
He's in his 80s and he fucking hates it, but he can't. He won't walk away from baseball because he's from fucking New York, and that's what.
Yeah.
He's so old. He grew up with this shit.
That's what I mean. But now it's like you can't even identify what the fuck's happening. Yeah. I'm all for changes that are better for games, but they've changed it to take in all of like the. They've taken it and taken all of like the nuance out of it as far as the little things and little tricks and little gamesmanship things are like, no. We just want this to be an athletic display.
Is it fantasy sports that did this?
No, because nobody plays fantasy baseball like they do with football. They don't gamble on it, so no, it's not the same as football. It's not like football, though.
It's not as big, obviously.
Football, everybody in an office is doing it. This is,
but
like
anybody watching the regular season of baseball, it's just for fantasy.
I don't even think it's for that, man.
It's got to be.
They want everything to just look like a home run derby where it's just like pitch, hit, quick, and there's no like...
Well, if they want that, stop fucking needling guys about steroids, because that's what steroids do, is they hit fucking home runs.
By the way, I'm just going to say this off the top on the home run thing and the steroids thing. And this isn't like a homerish thing, because I'm a Yankee fan or whatever, but... Yeah. This fucking hatred for Aaron Judge is insane. If you're out there going, fucking Aaron Judge, I hate him. I think Ohtani should be the fucking MVP or whatever your reason for hating him is, you're fucking crazy if you think that. I swear to God, you ask whoever's closest to you, am I a little off lately? They're going to tell you yes, because that's crazy. Not for this, just for everything. Your mind is off. This is a guy who seemingly real nice guy, hasn't done anything to anybody.
Pretty humble.
Polite to reporters and fans alike. He's adopted. He had a tough life. All this shit.
His parents are there.
His parents are right there next to him. He's a nice kid coming.
Yeah.
Fuck you. How you Barry Bonds hit 73, motherfucker. Okay. He's not saying fuck Barry Bonds. Right. He's just hitting home runs, and people are hating him because, oh, by the way, Barry Bonds, the same guy who, while it was going on, nobody would fucking acknowledge what he was doing. They're all like, that's a bullshit steroid record, and we all fucking know it. It's all bullshit, and fuck that guy. The guy who still isn't in the Hall of Fame, even though he's 500 and was a fucking Hall of Famer before he ever touched steroids. Still not in the Hall of Fame because you hate him so much, but you can also say that I hate Aaron Judge because of that. It's crazy.
Well, it's because now I think Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, and Sammy Sosa, what they did to baseball is make everybody think that now anybody that's good at home runs, it obviously is just doing it with steroids, which who gives a shit?
There isn't even a fucking accusation of that now because they test him all the time. And Aaron Judge is not a fucking steroid guy. He's 6'7". He's just a monster. He's huge.
The thing they're all saying is when they figure out what masking agent he's using, then all this is going to come down.
Because he looks like he's on. Look at him. He doesn't look like he's on steroids.
He's a noodle.
He's fucking big.
He's tiny.
He's going to get bigger as he gets older. He's a young guy still.
He's so skinny. He doesn't look like a home run hitter to me.
He doesn't. So, I don't know. And guess what? Whatever masking agent he's using, I'm sure everyone else is using it if that happened. Right. And no one else is hitting 62 fucking home runs. Right. So what are you talking about? And if he hits 62 clean, that's fucking awesome. No one's done that in fucking 60 years. And we're like, fuck him. Fuck him. Yes, the guy in the Angels, amazing. He MVP, great. Sure, I don't care. It has nothing to do with this. Stop being crazy.
You know what it is, James? He's handsome and successful, and nobody
Well,
wants
he's on
to
the
see
Yankees,
that.
too.
And
He's on the Yankees, too.
He's got three things
It's
working
Derek
against
Jeter
him.
all over again. How dare you hit 320 and fucking have 3,000 hits and get laid and win World Series and make good plays in the field and hustle and try hard and smile and talk to people. How dare you do that? Yeah. It's crazy. It's fucking insane. It's insanity. That's insanity.
He'll be torn down. They're going to want it. They want to
the people.
Anybody that does well at anything, they want to tear you down. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah. Wait till Aaron Judge rapes a chick, then fucking tear him down. But till then, leave the fucking guy alone and let him enjoy hitting 62 home runs. He looks like he's got to keep his head down and feel guilty because he hit 62 home runs.
But
what
Jeter
the fuck?
Jeter did get a lot of respect too, though. You know,
from the players.
Yeah,
fans didn't. Fans fucking hated him. Like, he sucks.
Yeah.
All the players were like, "That dude's nasty." Ask him, you know.
But I think Jeter like acknowledging fans and stuff is like something that made people kind of like the Aaron Judge just hit 62 and then walked into the fucking dugout. No acknowledge. I think that plays a part
too.
Give
a fuck. No, the other team, the fucking players didn't even. They stood there and even fucking. They didn't even give him a chin up. Like, good job, dude. Nothing. The fucking other team.
Everybody hates it.
Scumbags, man. It's ridiculous. Wait till he does something to you.
Yeah.
There's also just a fucking. I'm going to say this. This country is a real provincial trailer park, and they definitely have it in for anything New York related. Yeah. They don't like that because that to them feels like you're feel like you're better than me.
Yeah.
You know, we have a real big you ain't better than me bullshit.
It's not just
in our country.
New York, it's LA too, because when the Rams won the Super Bowl, everybody fucking hates them.
But LA isn't even a real place. It's fucking, you know what I mean? Like LA it's not a real place. Nobody has any civic pride. They're not from there. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's all a fucking bunch of actors. Yeah, New York, you actually have multi-generational fans that have been here. It's stupid. I'm just tired of people. I'm tired of I'm tired of dumb anger. If your anger is based on the fact that you're stupid, I don't want to fucking hear it. I just don't.
You're just mad at people because you can't understand why it's liked.
Yeah, because you can't understand why you're not as good as them. That means that's on you. You should figure it the fuck out. Nobody else. It's not on us.
Why don't you hone the things that you're good at? I'm sorry that playing the spoons is not more coveted in this country.
I apologize, but yeah. 62. Imagine that. You just hit 62 home runs. And
it's crazy.
And they're just, people are like, pfft.
Against the most difficult pitching in the history of baseball.
Oh, yeah. That's what I mean. Everybody's
scrutinized everything.
Those guys back then couldn't hit the pitching now. Yes, they could, by the way. They just measure fucking speed differently. You notice in like 2007 and 2008, all of a sudden, everybody threw 103 miles an hour. Right. What do you think? Just human beings figured out how to throw 103 miles an hour all at once? They changed the way they fucking measured radar. Yeah. Dumb shits. The same fucking thing. Just read stuff. Nolan Ryan threw 108 miles an hour when they did the correct thing on him. Threw 108. Just like guys throw 108 now. It's the same thing. Same exact fucking thing. Nobody's special. Nobody's special. That's what's great. Nobody's special now. Same thing with basketball. Not any more special than people were then. Watch Dr. J float through the air and you tell me, well, guy, shit, he couldn't play now. Yeah, he could. Jump right over people's heads. Same fucking way they did then. Athletes are amazing when the top tier of athletes are just amazing. And
yeah, the best ones are fucking incredible. It's always been that way.
No matter what kind of training, no matter what kind of weightlifting, no matter what kind of nutrition, not going to make people throw harder. That just doesn't exist. The human body throws about 108 tops, period. That's it.
What it does. That's about it.
All right, off my soapbox there. Sorry. It was fun, though. And you know what? I don't give a fuck. These are for us. It's the last whatever. Last 12 episodes. You don't like it, click it off and eat my shit. I don't care.
I really think it comes down to a lot of anger towards people, though, is handsome and ability, or beautiful and ability. It really hurts to be ugly and talentless. I know it. I'm familiar. Just calm the fuck down and be happy.
People used to look to the talented and more attractive as aspirational, and maybe I can, at least that's good. I can live through that. Be pathetic and live through people. Don't fucking. What happened to idolizing people and being pathetic that way? Go read Us Weekly and fucking sit there and wish you had that life rather than hate the person. It's the same amount of. It makes the same amount of sense. It's stupid either way.
It does feel like a kick in the balls, though, when George Clooney gets $1 billion for making tequila and he was already rich and handsome. It does hurt a little bit.
It's true. It's true.
As a guy that's got a mortgage, it stings.
That's life.
But look, man, that's
fucking life.
Yes, it's true.
There's people that look up at us in wide-eyed admiration.
Yes, and that's crazy.
Not that they should.
Don't do that.
But I'm just saying, there's that. No matter where you are, if you're lying in the sidewalk with nothing, there's somebody in the gutter next to you, down one rung, looking up at you in wide-eyed admiration.
And going,
wow,
they've got it figured out.
Wish I could get up on that curb. That's what it is. It's a fact. There's always somebody shittier. So just realize that and don't hate the people who aren't shitty.
Be happy for George. Be happy for Aaron. Be happy for people that are doing something with their lives and
I don't know,
making a paycheck, I guess. He was adopted, for Christ's sake. He started out with a tough life.
Happy people never hate people for shit like that.
That's
you know what I mean? And I get that it's hard to be happy. People have fucked up things happen in your life. Hey, great. I'm a miserable son of a bitch too. Yeah. But I can recognize achievement and not be angry at it. For fucking Christ's sake. Like, holy shit.
Aaron, I'm so upset that these people don't have to have the phone calls with their ex-wife that I have to have.
Yeah, there's that
I feel
too.
So jealous of them that they aren't being bitched at constantly by somebody they don't have to be bitched at.
No shit, man. Oh, fuck. So, all right, back to this guy here. Back to our guy here. Here we go. Jim says, we were the Go-Go White Sox then, but they were also the Go-Go White Sox under Paul Richards when I broke in with the White Sox. We won with speed and defense. There would be headlines in the paper like, White Sox bomb Kansas City 2-1. We would win with 4 hits and a sacrifice fly and 2 errors.
That's a shitty day.
It's a shit day. These are the days back then they used to wet down. Chicago was famous for it. The White Sox would wet down all the dirt and all the shit in front of the infield so the balls would go real slow so they could beat out infield singles. Okay. That way the initial bounce into the ground would kind of kill it and it would
stop it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So they'd run out bases while everybody else was hitting for power. So that was how they did it here. So He said that he loved those days. He said, I'm serious. I would have played for free. My favorite memory, I hit for the cycle at Washington. My homer was an inside the park one. I was going to be content with a triple, but third base coach Tony Cuccinello waved me on in. So, yeah. He says,
hit for the cycle 1, 2, 3, and then an inside the park home run. What a day!
Yeah, that's a crazy day. In Washington too, that had weird dimensions. That park too. So
really?
You hit one out into a corner, it was inside the parker. Yeah, those parks used to have super strange dimensions in different places. So yeah, he said that the team got along great. He said that he doesn't ever remember a scuffle in the locker room or anything like that, other than the police dragging him out. So, 1956 here, 139 games, hits 255. He has 12 homers, 66 RBI, 20 steals. Damn fine. By the way, just a quick overview of who is in the league at this point. Let me give you the hit and home run leaders for this year, for 56. Hits, Hank Aaron, Harvey Kuhn, Al Kaline, Nellie Fox, Richie Ashburn, Mickey Mantle, Bill Verdon, Stan Musial, Ken Boyer, Jackie Jensen.
Wow.
Home run leaders, Mickey Mantle, Duke Snyder, Joe Adcock, Frank Robinson, Eddie Matthews, Willie Mays, Wally Post, Ted Kuzlinski, Gil Hodges, Stan Lapata, Vic Wirtz. There's a shitload of Hall of Fame guys in there. Yeah. Holy shit. That is wild. Legends. So after this season ends, he marries his second wife.
Really?
Yep, a woman named Phyllis Crane. She is from Indiana, and this is everything's going well for him. The sports writers like talking to him because he's always good for a good quote. He's a real colorful guy and all that kind of shit. At this point, too, he gets real into going to movies all the time. Some days he'll go to the movies and see 2 movies before a night game. That's how he'll spend his whole day.
A double matinee, a little cinephile.
Yeah, and then he'll go to a game. He's known as the team's film critic. Like newspaper reporters will ask him, "What'd you think of this?" And then he'll give his review and shit. So there was a couple of trade rumors that came up, but he was always deemed too popular to get rid of. They were always like, "We can't get the fans. Yeah. The fans are going to be mad if we get rid of him." So 1957, White Sox 90, 64, and 1. Good for second place.
They're moving up.
Moving up here. This year, he said he felt better about hitting because he got a shipment of his own bats in. He got his own signature bat they made for him with his signature on it and all that. And he's got a new stance at the plate here. So he says he's doing really well. He gives his coach, Johnny Cooney, he said helped him out. He said, I had ordered my own bats at the beginning of the season, but they didn't come, and I'd been using teammate Fred Hatfield's bats. And he said, they finally came in a couple days before the New York Yankees series, and I've been doing great ever since. I've had hot streaks before, but I've never hit long balls like that. Okay. He had 5 home runs. He had 4 home runs in 5 games since he got his new bats, so not bad. He also says, Cooney changed my stance, and that's helped out a lot too. And, he says he's got me hitting flat-footed like this, see? He said, no stride. It keeps me from turning my head. He's just got me doing all the things I knew I should do, but I didn't concentrate. He said, I wish I would have learned this a long time ago. It says in some of the records I'm 35, but I'll be 37 in July. I never played ball till I was 27 on the count of all that time I done.
On the count of that rape and stuff.
A little rape charge in the Army there. In baseball, I don't know if the team did it to make him not seem like they didn't have a 30-year-old rookie back in the day, but the league just said he was born in 23 and not 21.
Wow.
But then everywhere he went, if they would talk to him, he'd go, I was born in 21, by the way. I'm 2 years older. Yeah, absolutely. So 57, 125 games, 256. He seems to hit around in the mid-250s. That's about where he goes. Yeah. Not too bad, though. What does he have? 14 homers, 52 ribbies, 18 steals. Not too shabby.
Yeah.
1958, 82, 72, and 1. Good for second place again. God damn it. This year he hits, 225 this year. Not good at all. He only plays 116 games. This is when he had a bunch of injuries this year. And a muscle pull. He had a broken hand. He had a whole bunch of weird problems. Jesus. 9 homers, 35 ribbies, 21 steals. He steals a lot of bases, this guy. That's kind of what his whole game is.
He's real good at stealing shit.
He's good at stealing shit like Like women's virtue. We both said that at the same time. That's amazing. 1959 White Sox. They finished 94, 60, and 2. Good for first in the American League.
World Series, boys.
Which means you go right to the World Series against the now Los Angeles Dodgers.
Is that right?
Absolutely, man. There we go. He is this year, he's kind of a platoon starter. He's kind of coming in and out, pinch hitting, defensive replacement, runs for people, that sort of thing. Okay. He has a lot of energy, though, and he's all cheerleader in the dugout. And he's good to have around. He stays in good shape. So, they say that he's always ready. His coach said, I love that he's always the first man in uniform before every game. So they one night here in Cleveland on the 22nd. This is they have the opportunity to clinch the pennant this night. Okay. This means to go to the World Series, and I guess Jim Perry is that. No, that's Gaylord Perry. Never mind. Jim Perry starting for Cleveland, and Rivera's in the lineup. The Sox take a 2-0 early lead. Indians get a run back in the bottom of the 5th. Mudcat Grant relieves Perry.
What?
Hell yeah. Mudcat Grant. Fucking awesome. Relieve Perry in the top of the 6th and surrendered a 1-out home run to Al Smith. And then Rivera is the next batter. He hits a home run to right center. And that lead will hold up. And it was the pennant clinching home run, basically, this home run. And he said it was his greatest moment ever in sports or baseball or anything. It was the greatest feeling ever.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you send your team to the World Series. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, they were just ecstatic over it. He played in 80 games that year, so pretty much half the games they had him in. Only hit 220, 4 homers, 19 ribbies, 5 steals. So it doesn't play that much.
Is there another Mudcat that played baseball? There probably is, huh?
I'm sure there was.
There's got to be more.
Well,
than one.
Catfish Hunter, and there's other cats and fishes. And
I saw a Mudcat play in an Old Timers game here, and he looked so old. It may have been the same dude.
This guy would be like 100 now. Yeah.
It would have been early 2000. He'd still be 100.
He might have been 70. That's possible.
Yeah.
So the 1959 World Series.
Yeah.
Okay, here. He's on the bench and kind of sitting around.
Yeah.
During this one game here, I think it's game 2, the manager says to him, "You're going in the game." They move the center fielder they move the right fielder to left field and replace the rookie that was in left field with Rivera. Yeah, who hasn't done shit at the plate in the series though. Okay. But right after the switch was made, there's a a long shot that everybody said off the bat was going to be a triple. There goes a triple over the head of the guy here. And Rivera said, "I knew about Neal's power to right center, so I was already playing him a little deep." And he said that he didn't even have time to flip his sunglasses on. He said, "At first, I didn't think I was going to get to it, but I finally caught up with it a couple feet from the wall. It was a good catch, but Smith would have probably made it too," the guy who he replaced. He said, "It may not be my greatest catch I ever made, but probably the one that most people remember." It is, the Willie Mays running away basket catch? It's that exact catch he made.
Really?
That exact catch. Over the shoulder, caught like this, and then turn around. It's that exact, and it saved the game.
Like a wide receiver going for a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. Over the head running, and that was it saved the game for him. It was a huge game-saving catch. They ended up winning that game. It was super heroic, and he said, "I just ran for the fence, and there the ball was. I didn't bother snapping down my sunglasses because they don't help out here anyway."
Wow.
So, this was makes this amazing catch. It's incredible, and everybody loves him. He's known as a White Sox hero, and in the series, though, he has no hits.
Not a hit.
11 at-bats and no hits.
But one giant catch.
One giant catch and 3 walks is what he has. So not bad. The catch is huge, but the Dodgers overcome them and win 4-2. They win the series. This is Sandy Koufax, John Drysdale, Duke Snipe. There's a lot of...
You're not beating them.
There's a lot of... Yeah, they were a really nasty team at that point. So there he is. He's still known for that, by the way. People still know, like White Sox fans know that catch. They know the catch in the 59 World Series because they didn't go to the World Series very often. So when they did, it was memorable. 1960, JFK is running for president, okay? And or may have already won the presidency this year. I'm not sure. So either way, he's at a game in Washington, JFK.
Yep.
And here is Rivera. Rivera gets a fucking autograph from him on a baseball.
What?
Now, presidents aren't used to signing baseball. Politicians are used to signing flat things. Not
right.
To hold a baseball and sign it right is it's a specific muscle that you have to use. You don't touch your hand to it because it's curved. It's hard to do. You have to know what you're doing. Otherwise, it comes out all sloppy and shitty. So he goes, yeah, sure, there you go. There's your ball there. And
yeah.
Jim looks at it and he goes, quote, what kind of garbage college is that, Harvard, where they don't even teach you how to write? What kind of garbage writing is this, he says. What kind of garbage writing is this?
You're one of the richest families in America, and you can't write?
What kind of garbage college is that, Harvard, where they don't even teach you how to write? But that's the kind of guy he was. No matter what was on the ball, he would have said that because he wanted to show he'd break the president's balls or the nominee's balls or whoever the fuck he was at the time. So 1960, only 48 games, and these are all like a lot of pinch running and stuff. He only has 17 at-bats.
Oh.
That year. Hits .294, though, which is fine, but he's not hitting hardly at all. 1961 season, he fractures his thumb in his first pinch running assignment of the year while sliding in head first in the third, which is the problem. He gets hurt, and as soon as he gets off the disabled list in June, the White Sox release him, June 10th, 1961. That same day, though, he signed as a free agent with the Kansas City Athletics.
Oh.
Who've moved there by now. They suck that year. They're 61-101.
Oh, God, Jesus.
Not good. They just moved to the 162-game season. He plays the whole year there, 64 games, has 141 at-bats. He hits .241, 2 homers, 10 ribbies, 6 steals. Not the best. At the end of the season in October, he is released by the Kansas City Athletics, and that's going to be it for Major League Baseball for him. He played in 1,171 games, though, which, I mean, for a guy who didn't play till he was 30, that's not bad.
It's pretty amazing.
Hit .256. He has 83 homers, 422 ribbies, 160 steals. Not terrible. Mainly, though, what is that? 56 triples, which is a lot. So not bad. 1963, he ends up in Seattle, as we'll talk about. He's going to go down he's going to coach a little bit, then he's going to go to Mexico. He's going to be like a coach player down there. He's going to be like Jake Taylor in Major League, I picture him, like waking up with a sombrero over his face and
bad knees.
Going, is that you, Tolbert? You know, could have done this shit. At least you could say it was the Yankees. So he's after a couple years with Seattle, he goes back to Seattle with the Rainiers of the PCL there, and at the age of 42, he's finally released on June 12th, 1963.
Yeah.
He's 42. He said, quote, I knew this moment would come, but it's hard to take. I'm not bitter. Everything I have in this world I owe to baseball. He said he wants to manage a team in the Puerto Rican Winter League where he's played and managed before, and he says, I hope to stay in baseball somewhere, somehow. So his all-time team, by the way, what's his best team of all time, they say, when he retires here? Who's your favorite of all time? He said his all-time team is Ted Williams in left field, Joe DiMaggio in center field, Tommy Heinrich in right field, Eddie Robinson at first base, Joe Gordon at second base, Phil Rizzuto at shortstop, Red Rolfe at third base, Yogi Berra catcher, and Whitey Ford and Allie Reynolds are pitchers. Okay. Basically, that's like they're mostly Yankees. Those are like he just named mostly Yankees there.
I like the Yankees, you guys.
I watched them beat the shit out of us for the entire decade of the 50s. Them. I'll just take them. Now, in the minors and Mexican leagues here he goes. He plays for Seattle. He plays for Indianapolis around that time. After 63, when Seattle releases him, he goes down to Mexico City to go for the Mexico City Tigers.
Oh, God.
Where he plays and manages both 34 games down there. Then Jalisco, he goes down there, 87 games in 64. Yeah. He's done by 64, though. After 64, he's done. He never has any kids, by the way.
Huh.
No kids. Not
really?
A one. Yeah, not one. I don't know if it's some weird orphan experiment they did to him, killed all his sperm or what, but he's got no kids. Never has any kids.
Involved?
No, it's so strange, right?
Weird.
How did this guy not slip one past the goalie?
Honestly,
he's fucking everybody.
Like he's throwing it everywhere,
voluntarily or not. They don't even have to want it. So he moves to Crooked Lake, Indiana, is where he goes here, and he keeps in shape. He plays racquetball and he golfs. He wins a handball thing for seniors and all this shit. When he in Crooked Lake, Indiana, it's by Angola, Indiana, where his wife is from. He buys a bar there. No, that's Louisiana, Angola. Different Angolas. Yeah, Angola, Louisiana is the prison. He buys a place named
Terre Haute, Indiana. That's right.
Yeah, there you go. He buys the Captain's Cabin in 1965.
What is
this? It's a bar. It's a bar, restaurant, club on a lake. Like from his window, you can see the lake and all the boats are lined up. It's like one of those places. So it's seasonal. It's only open in the summer.
Got it.
One of those
where it's got 360 view of water. Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
That's exactly right. He also calls it Jungle Jim's Saloon. He has big neons of Jungle Jim's Saloon, and becomes a beloved local in Indiana here. Here's a Wenzel, this lady named Wenzel. She says if he became one of those guys whom you either liked or you didn't, and he was the same way with people. If he didn't care for you, you found out quickly. This old lady said, quote, if he didn't like you, he would tell you to go straight to hell. An 88-year-old woman said that, which I think is hilarious.
And they like guys like that.
Yeah, that's hilarious, just like an old lady. So they said he would dance all the time. He loved to dance. He would do all sorts of charity shits, had a lot of friendships. The Wenzels here, Gene Wenzel, had been let go from his position with the Angola Metal Spinners before forming the successful All Metal Spinners with Ron O'Byrne. This is a band, by the way.
Oh.
Okay. They said times were tough, but Rivera always made sure that these people had food on their table. He supported them in their tough times. This lady says, quote, my God, that guy, when my husband was between different jobs, we were trying to save money and he fed us. I hope he's in heaven because he deserves it. He was a great guy. There'll never be another one like him.
Lady, do you know what he was accused of twice?
And counting.
Yeah.
Then another patron said people enjoyed going to the bar and visiting with Jim. He was one man with a heart of gold. Oh, heart of gold here. Also inside in this cabins club, they had the Screwball Club in there. And that was down a flight of stairs in the basement. And they said it was like walking into a sports kind of a bar, all sorts of memorabilia from the White Sox, big photos of him playing baseball and everything. And they said one person said, we'd go every Friday night and have baskets in the bar room along with many others. Regular patrons were, they name a bunch of people, it doesn't matter. And said he loved them all dearly. They said the Screwball Club was named the Screwball Club because it was the home of the Screwballs of America.
What is that?
I have no fucking idea. But they said, this lady said, as a child, I was fascinated by the Screwball Club sign as we went down the hall to the basement. I never knew that adulting could be so much fun. This was said years ago, by the way.
That's wild.
That's crazy. This was said like over 20 years ago.
Long before Twitter.
Rivera said, Jungle Jim said, quote, I can't complain. Anytime you get up in the morning and you go to bed at night, you should be happy with your life.
Okay.
One employee here, Elsie Brown, served as a hostess for him for 20 years and said she ended up, once he got rid of it, she worked for the new owner. She worked there for like 40 years, which is crazy. This woman said he kept the same employees on for a long time. He was good to work for. He had no family of his own, so he treated the help more or less like family. That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, sweet guy.
Yeah. So anyway, this was like kind of the whole, like for the locals, it was a real neighborhood spot. And they said they'd be at the bar. Once the bar would die down, then Jim would play cards with people and all that. And he couldn't wait. Here's one lady who said, I could not wait until I was able to sit with them at that bar for my first legal drink. It was where I realized that teachers were real people too, and quite fun. Every Christmas Eve when I was in my teens, we would go there for Christmas Eve prior to the Selman family Christmas Eve party. I can remember Jim making me my first golden pheasant. The drink.
Yeah.
And I will not say if I was actually legal at the time or not, but in Jim's eyes I was, so there's that.
Yikes.
That's a terrible sentence.
That's horrifying.
Give me 5 minutes, by the way. 1976, the White Sox unveiled their new uniforms. Did you ever see those, the shorts? The ones with the shorts?
No.
Look it up. There people have posted it. In the 70s, the White Sox had uniforms with shorts.
They chose shorts.
Shorts, high socks. It was fucking ridiculous. They looked like assholes. Their shirts had collars on them, Jimmy.
What? They look like
you don't need a collar.
Waitresses?
They were like turn of the century 1900s like outfits. They look like a rec league softball team would have these outfits. That's what they look like.
Yeah.
They're ridiculous. They're super famous for it. Guys standing there pitching with their knees showing. It's so stupid.
You're going to slide in that shit?
Yeah, that's what they did.
Wow.
It's nuts. Bill Veeck, the owner here, he brought in Jungle Jim to be the model, by the way. So there's all sorts of pictures of him like pulling him up like it's a skirt on his leg and all that kind of shit. So look those up. White Sox shorts uniforms are fucking crazy. Actually, I'll post the thing of him holding his leg up. So 1979, he gets involved in a new baseball league. It is a slow pitch softball league.
That's not a baseball league. That's just beer league.
He said, it's a lot of fun. It gives everybody a chance. I think it's a family game. The only sport where any kid can play, whether he's skinny, short, fat, or big.
What?
They can play softball. He says he's turned down coaching offers in baseball because he didn't like the system. But when contacted by Johnny Walker, the president of Fort Wayne's new entry in the American Professional Slow Pitch Softball League, this was a professional league, he said it's really a coincidence because he said Walker called me and asked me what I thought about pro softball in Fort Wayne, and I told him that it would be successful. That is not true. So he decided to manage this team in Fort Wayne. They were the Fort Wayne some shit, and then they changed to the Fort Wayne Huggy Bears, which were little lollipops in the shapes of bears.
What? That's a Huggy Bear?
That's a Huggy Bear, yeah. And he said at first the players took some teasing, as you might imagine, but there's only so many jokes you can make about anything, so it's died out about being the Huggy Bears.
That was my aunt's dog's name, and it was anything but. She
Huggy
named
Bear?
him that because you couldn't touch him.
Oh, God. Don't
That's
touch
Huggy
him.
Bear who will bite you.
Oh, my God. That's so funny. Joe Pepitone played in this league, by the way, who was a major leaguer for years with the Yankees. Yeah. Years and years and years. So, yeah, Huggy Bear Candies is their range. And he said it may be difficult for a group of grown men to call themselves the Huggy Bears, but I'll tell you one thing. The little kids love us. We're the only team anywhere that passes out free suckers at our games. 1982, Jimmy. March of 1982. He's arrested at 59 years old on charges of child molestation and contributing to the delinquency of a minor.
Oh, my God.
He made me my first drink. Wouldn't exactly say I was legal, but that's cool.
In his eyes, I was.
In his eyes, I was.
Gross!
Well, his eyes aren't the law. Where do you draw the line? Well... We have a very clear line drawn here.
There it is, yeah.
In the charges filed against him, the girl is between the ages of 12 and 16 years old.
Jesus Christ.
He's 59.
Yeah.
In reality, she is 14, we find out.
Oh, my God.
14. 59. 14. No. So... what the fuck are you doing? Exactly.
Doesn't even have a successful comedy special or anything?
Nothing. Not even nothing.
Awful.
He's got nothing. Any kind of goddamn thing. Nothing. I mean, he gets arrested for that. The whole town is shocked.
I'm sure.
Because he's been Mr. fucking town every guy for so long. Yeah, he gets arrested and he's like, oh, man, I got to at least change the name of my fucking business now. This isn't going to go well. I can't be that anymore. I got to change it. You know what? I'm changing it. I'm redoing the whole place. And he calls in the only man who can possibly renovate the entire Captain's Club. And it's Dexter Manley, interior designer from New York City. And he says... how is it you've come to arrive here? Holy fucking shit, bro. You are the white trashiest of the white trash. Like, seriously. Like, You're orphanage trash, number one, which isn't your fault. It's not your fault. I mean, they knew. I feel like they knew. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's not place this one. He's a little, you know what I mean? So we'll keep him here, not on a farm. He'll probably rape a cow. We can't have him out there. So you got out of World War II. Hitler didn't kill you. Like, you just raping people and attempting. Where do you draw the line, sir? Here you go. This is a marker. I'm drawing a line right here on the ground. That's the line, sir. You've crossed the white trash line long time ago. So I'm sorry. I'm not decorating this place. Yeah. Vince didn't even want to talk to you. He was disgusted. That's how. And you're a showman, but white trash. Sorry. You're like an El Camino engine hanging from a tree in the front yard. Yeah. Goodbye. Poof. And a poof of feathers and boas and everything else. He's gone. Jim's very confused. He turns around and he goes, some fruit was over here. I don't know who he was.
Thank God he didn't go to World War II with the sexual pervert. He would have unleashed that guy on a village that's lawless. Holy shit.
So a month later, or actually 2 months later, Jesus Christ, the charges are dropped against him.
What?
Okay, let me read to you why the charges are dropped, because this wouldn't be dropped now. Okay, he submitted to a lie detector.
Oh God,
because that's his jam.
Yeah, got him out of one last time.
Not to say he didn't have contact with this girl. They didn't find that he didn't have sex with this young girl. They found out that from the lie detector test that it indicated Rivera had reason to believe the girl was older than 14.
Oh, my God.
That doesn't matter. You're 59.
The fact is she's not. Who cares what he believed?
Are you fucking nuts?
God.
There you go. So he got off on that, didn't go. But he definitely had sex with a 14-year-old, apparently.
Jesus.
That's interesting. Wow. So everyone's like, I guess that was a mistake. Like it never happened. Goes back to his business. Everything's fine. 1985, he's at his business in the bar, and they do a TV interview for a TV special called Once a Star. And he says he likes a small town. He says, I think you get a lot of privacy out here, which worries me with that.
He'll stay out of my gross business.
He said, people don't butt in on you like they do in a big city. He said,
tell you that you shouldn't be doing that bad stuff.
Yeah, they sweep it under the rug here. He says, the only thing I don't like about a small town and which they're all the same, is everyone knows what time you get up and what time you go to bed, and who you're banging and what kids you got in your room. But other than that, I'd rather be here. I think the living is cleaner, the air is cleaner, it's not noisy, everybody knows everybody. So if you go somewhere and you want to have a good time, you leave town. You don't stay here. You go somewhere else. So I like it better. So anyway, they said to him in this thing, you don't have any sons, do you? Because they were asking him about basketball or baseball lineage. You don't have any sons, do you? And without missing a beat, he goes, not legally. So that's not that I know of in this way. And you wouldn't want to be his son at this point. I mean, I don't even feel bad for him, but I do feel bad for a lot of other people, including Jim Rivera, a personal trainer at the New York Sports Club. That's not good. Jim Rivera, senior assistant director at Boston University. Oh, geez, that's not good. Jim Rivera, senior front-end developer at some skincare place in the Bronx, New York, which is where he moved to. In the Bronx is where he's from. And then Jim Rivera, information technology professional in Lakeland, Florida, and Jim Rivera, branch manager at the Provident Savings Bank in Dublin, California. Oh, what the hell. Jim Rivera, military police in the New York.
Oh, no.
With the U.S. Army in Bronx, New York. So it's all him. Couldn't be any better. 1990, he sells the captain's cabin to a guy named Chuck Brunson, which sounds like Charles Bronson is trying to hide. Going by Chuck Brunson now. And he kept in contact with everybody. They said that I was a patron before we brought it out. This is the new owners, bought him out. I thought I was a personal friend because he called me Hoss. Took me a while to know that he calls all the guys Hoss because he couldn't remember their names.
That hurts. I thought we had something, man.
That's amazing. When we bought him out, he wanted to leave his memorabilia, but we wanted him to have it. We felt bad. The bar still holds a small memorial to Rivera, an encased autographed baseball sitting next to his rookie card. He said, "We still received Christmas cards from him and Nancy, and Jim was the one who addressed and signed them. He had a very rough life, but would give you the shirt off his back to help you." He said, "Wish my husband Dick was here, as I'm sure he'd have a lot more to tell you." After that, 2000, he sells the place, moves down to Port Charlotte, Florida, retires. 2002, he doesn't. On the Bay side. Yeah, 2000. Is it over there?
Yeah,
I guess it is.
That's where that hurricane hit.
That's right. That's right. 2002, he does an interview with the Sun-Times down there, and he says, "Thank God I was able to play baseball. Yeah, without it, you'd still be in military prison probably."
Or murdered.
Or murdered. He said, "Without it, I wouldn't have been anything. I wouldn't have even met my wife, Nancy. I first saw her in my restaurant and said, 'There she is. That's the one for me.' I had to chase her for a year, but it was worth it. She's the greatest." His version of chasing, I don't want to know what that is.
I don't know what he had to endure.
His dick is out, though. That's all I know for most of the time. 2005, the White Sox brought out the members of the 1959 World Series team before Game 1 of the World Series. It was the first time they'd been back since then. And so he was on the field for that, actually, in 2005. November the 13th, 2017, he dies at age 96.
He made it to 96
96. This can't keep his dick in his pants fucking guy can't. 96 years old. Avis Wenzel, the lady who knew him, said, quote, "He was one man with a heart of gold."
Yeah,
that's can't get enough of Jungle Jim. There's a couple ladies out there who've had plenty of him, but if you can't get enough, there is on eBay, you can buy one of his baseball cards, 1957 Topps number 107, Jim Rivera baseball card here. It's only $11.74 too.
Really?
Yeah, it's not in the best shape. It's not perfect, but just to have, it's pretty fucking
probably
cool.
Not a lot of them.
No, I might order that. It was only $1 shipping and handling too. That's kind of cool. And then this is cool as shit. Jim Rivera, game used 1959 Chicago bat, game used baseball bat from back then. It's his, his Louisville Slugger with his name scripted on there.
I think it's real.
It looks old as fuck. I mean,
really?
It could be. Yeah, it could definitely be real. I don't know if it's game used or what. It's not autographed. So either way, $795 for that bad boy, though.
Worth it if it's real.
If it's if it's got like some kind of whatever.
If it's real, then an accused child molester may have touched that.
That may have touched that in the World Series. Who knows?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Either way, those are his signature bats that he was talking about that he finally got and he could get a little more pop with. But either way, that, everybody, is Jungle Jim Rivera.
Wow.
And really fucking crazy story. He's one of those.
That's a fascinating story because it possibly, very well possibly, may have never happened. And it did. That's incredible.
That's great. Could have never happened.
Yeah.
Multiple things could have never happened. We don't know if he's a rapist or not, but we do know he has 3 different rape charges over a 40-year period, which is a pretty good span for. It's just a lot, man.
That tells you that. Oh my God, James, he was in Mexico where that stuff is not tracked very well.
That's what I mean. And the fact, well, not back then in the 60s especially, but for him, for a 59-year-old man to have sex with a girl who's definitely 14, even if she said I'm 18, still, I gotta wonder about his. Whatever, as moral setup or whatever the fuck, because that's gross. But either way, that's Jungle Jim Rivera. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, I don't know, give a review if you want. Doesn't really fucking matter, but you can if you feel like it. ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com. That matters. Head there and definitely get tickets for the virtual live show October the 27th. It's a small town murder Halloween spectacular. We'll tell the story just like a real live show. We have the pictures and everything like that, except you are in your living room rather than in a theater. We're in our studio. You're in the living room, and we'll all just pretend it's a good time.
Yes.
And the episodes are so much fun. They really are. more. You get to kind of feel what a live show's like. It's so much fun. It'll be available from October 27th and a week afterwards. You can watch it anytime you want in there. Watch it 10 times. You can do anything you want with it in there. But do that. That is shutupandgivememurder.com or moment.co/smalltownmurder to get your tickets for that. And get your merchandise, get your tickets for everything, get whatever the hell you want there. Follow us on social media at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. Patreon.
Oh, boy.
Patreon.com/Crime in Sports is where you get all the bonus stuff. Anybody $5 or above, a cup of coffee.
Right.
A cup of coffee a month will get you the whole back catalog of bonus episodes, like 150.
Cheaper than Starbucks.
It's cheaper than Starbucks. Really good stuff, and it'll get you new episodes every other week. One new Crime and Sports, one new Small Town Murder bonus, and you'll get access to all of them. This week for Crime and Sports, we are going to go back to one of our favorites and one of the favorites of everybody, really, who we bullshit. And we get asked all the time, when are the next personal ads? They're this time. We're going personal ads. These are people's desperate attempts for love in the newspaper in like the 80s and 90s, and it is so funny. And then for Small Town Murder, another backed by popular demand here, we are going to talk about small town festivals and county fairs and talk about the weird shit that goes on there. Testicle festivals and baby throwing and all sorts of craziness. We'll talk about it all. That's patreon.com/Crime and Sports. So get on that. And what you also get for that is a shout out because, man, we can't appreciate you more for doing that. Thank you for hanging with us. And the bonus content is just our way of saying thank you for doing that. That said, we'd like to say thank you again. Right now, Jimmy, help us say thank you by hitting me with the names of the most wonderful fucking people who would never have 3 rape charges over 4 decades. Hit me with them now.
This week's executive producers are Christina Punt, or Punt, I imagine it's Punt, and JB and Yeti Shetty in Canada. Thank you guys so much for everything you do for us. It's
everybody.
Truly appreciated. Other producers this week are Rear Admiral Steinschweiker, Daughters of the American Dream, Corporal Carl Kirshner, Jerry and Jean Lungart, I believe, in Minnesota, Shep Proudfoot, Happy Hour checking in Midland, Texas, Peyton Meadows, Gaetano De Leonardis. I almost said Gaetano.
Gaetano.
Jessica Finch, my best friend Tiffany Gonzalez, law firm Seymour Shitstain and Associates. Meister, it's Mr. Fred Blassie in a breakfast
Freddy.
Mess. What is it? Classy
Freddy.
From what? What is that?
Classy Freddie Blassie's a wrestling manager.
Oh, he's
the
in
Hollywood fashion
mess,
plate.
whatever that is.
A what? A breakfast mess?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that a military thing?
Gary Friedman is the most fun person ever.
I like it. I'll try to figure it out
He gives me so
tonight.
many references that I have no fucking idea what they are. Karen Vanden Hendy, I think. She's given it to us both ways, James. I believe so.
Oh. Well, thank you. That sounded filthy after this episode. But
Frank, the South African birdwasher. Gaza's limo driver who hated Ricky. Judge Chamberlain Holler. Janice Hill. Megan and James Kokich. Ralph Cramden, obviously. Reverend Myron Weinberg. Adam Looking for the Pipe Wyatt. Kyle Matthews.
Smith.
Michelle Ryer. Leanne with no last name. Louisa Todd. Leah Miller. Jessica with no last name. Victoria Moss. Cammie with no last name. Dan Glossack. Alexandra with no last name. Brittany Page. Rachel Krempa. Han Coat, maybe. Katie Orth. That's a weird one. All right. Queen of Pop. Tara Cobb. I think that's Tara. Kathleen Isbell, Paige Cameron, Allison with no last name, Amber Laguio, I think, Chris Zobel,
nice,
Quinn Persenton, Philip Milligan, Alicia with no last name, Tabby Schmidt, Chris with no last name, Paula DeMann, Kara Kropp, Janae Baggett, Baggett. I don't want
bag it up. Let's go.
You know what I mean. Ellen Mole, B with no last name, Moley, I don't know. Matt Lewis, Sherry Riddle, Fallon Caldwell, Jay with no last name, Stroke, what does this say? Stroke okay, it's probably gross. Stroke Moynin, I don't. It's probably
I don't know.
gross.
Stroke them if you got them, everybody.
There it is. Connie Colias. John Nosebush. That can't be right.
That's awesome. Right there.
Lena Osborne, Anna Signor, Tyvon Sands. Tyvon? Oh, it's probably Tyvon Sands. Cicely Gouge, I think. Michael Watts, Cam Ferguson, John Shea, Kathy Wilkerson, Charisse Muchler, Thomas Kelvey, Ricardo Ortiz, Jennifer Guthrie, Enzo Puccio, Annie Jankowski, Taylor Nolan, Cheyenne Martin, Alejandro Morales, Mary Sullivan, Whiskey Char, Corrale, Amy Angelo, yes, Abby Secret, Sauce Puya, I don't know, Paper Cut, Serial Killer, Brett Carpenter, Jalen Robinson, Eleanor with no last name, Tracy Hill, Jennifer Murphy, Chelsea with no last name, Hannah Heather, Coverstone, Audrey Stanley, Danny Sofa, Katie Pridgeon, John with no last name, Jonathan Benison, Thomas Lapira, David Hadley, Serena Witzke, Pat Mawini. That's not real. That's fake as fuck. I know what Mawini means, you son of a bitch. Ryan McCluskey, Amy Simpson, Chris Gagosian, Emily Beardsley, Susan Rosenberg, Joanna with no last name, Olivia with no last name, Melissa Howell, Raven, what?
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it was. That's right.
Joseph Smith, Alicia Rodriguez, Lauren Ray, Aaron Welch, Pamela Visalelios. Visalisal. Sorry, Pam.
Mrs. Bristle, what the fuck did you say?
Angie Doyle, Low Heights, Michelle Burkett, Jesse Werner, Vash Valentine. Wow, that's a cool. All right, Megan Lindaker.
It's admiring it.
It's beautiful. Nikki with no last name. Kayla Morgan, Jameson Weld, Brandon Backren, Brandon with no last name. Edna Crabapple, 87. Samantha with no last name. Stephanie Castor, Allie Jago, Tara Beaudry, I think. Fucking Dave. What? Jeff Ace, Stephen Moore, Nick Hurlbutt. Jesus. Riley with no last name. James Knight, Brian Holleran, Virginia Liu, Christina McCormick, Gretchen with no last name. Cooper Craig, Pat with no last name. Sydney Alexander, Benny Laps, Michael Klein, Kim Perry, Brianna Boyer, Jenna Pletz, Lindsay Whelan, Stephanie Earl, Ashley Witt, Kara Vanden Andy. Oh, she's giving it to us both ways. I think that's the same person. Jake Wright, Stephen Bach, Nicole Mary, Rachel Shiev, Bethany Karen Michelle with no last name.
Shiev.
Dan Wolf, Todd Wigman, Amy K, Tyler Sanders, Kelly Clark, Shane Smith, Melissa T, Suplex Sunny, Lee Cummings. I wonder if that's the same lady we know. Maybe not. It's possible. Joni Woodling, Lily Truesdale, Taylor, Carcaracciolo.
No.
Caracciolo, Dr. Tingren, Kylie Novak, Kathy Spellman, Claudia Rodriguez, Layla Radich, Sig Dippy Daddy WFML. My fuck. Ryan Van Fleet, Eric Mueller, Brooke Burmeister, Sierra Featherston. Yep. Stephen Maynard, Brittany Grimes, Ashley Falls, Danny Carter, Joshua Morlock, CJD, Debbie Smith, Tomos Roberts, Stephen Michael Sanchez, Paul Miller, Jen Silvius, Lawrence Hurd, Laura Spaeth, KTB, Jesse Gordon, fucking it's falling apart, Lindsay Harris, Tyler Race, Bree Thole, Roe the Cat, Meow Meow, Sarah Sulins, Paige Luber, Mondi they can't get tickets to Austin. I'm really sorry. There are a lot of people that really want to get to that Austin show.
We have, by the way, Austin, I think we have a few artist tickets that are like ours that they put aside for us, like a couple dozen maybe. We will release those at some point.
Soon, I imagine.
Keep checking. Follow us on social media. Follow the show on social media.
They're available.
It's,
Nick,
at
no
Murder
last
Small.
name.
Yeah.
Aaron Haggard, Andrea Chapman, Jeremy Holman, Emily Smith, Shay Anderson, Gina Ribeiro. Yep, I think so. Alina Moore, I think. Corey Geisbrecht, Matthew Bebbington, Greg Carr, Liz Berliner, Rhonda Green, Thomas Andy, Stephanie Davis. Hey, Christy Arias, Estella Luma Reyes. I don't know. Adam Vella, Piku, what? Justin Golightly, Tori Johnson, sorry, Tori. Suzanne Andwalker, Shanna Neal, Heidi Schilling, Rachel Brandilli, I don't know. Danny Brighter, Kyle with no last name, Shadiah Elashker, Kelsey Johnson, Dana with no last name, Taya Berry, Alex Blackstone, John Kelly, Janet Borth, Rebecca Knapp, Madison Graham, Brittany Shippey. Nope, that's Brett Shippey, different person. Haley Brown, Nicole Doss, Caitlin Felix, Alexis Guillen, Alyssa Powell, Dustin Johnson, Dana Palmer, Tracy Curran, Justin with no last name, Melanie Flight, Sherry Leist, Sarah with no last name, Jessica Mallory, Rosie is my cat. All right, good for Courtney, Court Fleischer, Emily Turchi, Rebecca Jones, Mark Latuska, Wendy Pittman, Elizabeth Kruska, Johnson, you know who you are. Holly Boncella, Erica Whiting, Phil May, Amanda Hicks, Melissa Wolf, Alyssa Bates, Victoria Cannon, Steph with no last name, Tamara Wolf, Drake Fisher, Greg Little, Remy with no last name, Caitlin Kalasick, BMP, Osaka, Luja Kakaneka.
Wow.
Osaka Luka Chenekado.
You got that?
I'm never going to get that. Quinn Carson, Jill with no last name, Georgie Lynn, Aaron Lurskin, Jenna Klein, Victoria Curry, Mia Nyman, Donna Exley, Davis Coliosos, Pam Lassard, Celeste with no last name, Lauren Haar, Kenneth, Clyburn, Brendan with no last name, Melissa with no last name, Morgan Burke, Isaac Messmer, David Countermine, Joseph Bailey, and all of our patrons. You guys are phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for all that you do for us. Yeah. And we hope we're turning around and doing it to you just as hard, God damn it. Thank you. I don't fucking care.
Thank you.
There you
so
go.
much.
Thank you. If you want to follow us on social media, very easy to do so. Just look up Crime and Sports Podcast hosts or go to our shutupandgivememurder.com. There's links there. There's links to everything. God damn it. Holy shit. Thank you for joining us for Old Timey Day. It's been so much fun. Hopefully we'll get to find maybe one more old timey story before this is all over with, or at least regular length episodes. We'll find them for Patreon. Either way, thank you so much. Live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.